And savour time together after 3 months apart. Sydney springs back to life, more restrictions to go within weeks and new help for the recovery.
Developing now, Melbourne's vaccine push, 70% in sight, major changes to roll out rules, speeding up Victoria's roadmap.
New developments, COVID pill, the first steps to approve a virus treatment. Australia has already bought 300,000 doses, how it could be a shot in the arm to end the pandemic.
Weather warning, East Coast drenching, storms, a month's worth of rain and a cyclone expected before Christmas.
Plus, Australia's SAS superwoman, now Jana Pittman, is facing her toughest challenge yet. She's live on her surprise baby news.
And bursting onto the big screen, your guide to the hottest new blockbusters hitting the cinemas. It's Tuesday, the 12th of October, 2021.
Right across Australia, this is Sunrise on 7. Now live from Brecky Central, Kochie and Nat.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sunrise. Also coming up this Tuesday, the bank of mum and dad. What parents need to know before giving their kids a leg up on that property ladder. It's a special report.
Or the loan. And Lego gets a massive makeover. The big changes coming to one of the world's most loved toys.
But first to new developments in Sydney's recovery, and the next vaccine milestone is on the horizon this morning. 80% fully vaxxed. It will trigger an easing of more restrictions after millions enjoyed their first day out of lockdown. Friends, families and couples were reunited across the city for the first time in months. After so long, finally that sweet taste of freedom. Restaurants, the toast of the town, as Sydney celebrated the end of 106 days locked up.
We're also glad that everyone's getting back to the hospitality.
From the city to the suburbs, the queues enormous. People needed retail therapy. The doors rolled up, the covers came off.
It's the best feeling to be shopping again and being out of the house. It's amazing.
But it was Sydney's salons most in demand.
Oh man, it's the best thing ever, eh? Like, it was just getting out of control.
Tens of thousands of retail staff back at work checking vaccine certificates.
Yeah, all good, thank you. And sanitise.
But perhaps the most special freedom moments at our nursing homes.
Long time no see, eh?
Yeah, well.
Nearly 4 months.
4 months apart after 68 years married. Jen and Peter Blacklock united again, the sweetest of reunions on a day like no other.
It felt wrong that you're together for so long and then suddenly you can't be.
Let's go live now to 7 News reporter Serena Andaloro in Parramatta today. Serena, Sydney siders didn't waste their first opportunity in months to catch up with family and friends.
That's right, Nat. Although it was a much quieter night than usual, people seem to be cautiously easing back into freedom. The crowds were nowhere near what they would have been on, say, a pre-lockdown Saturday night. Still, from the city to the suburbs, people were just glad to be out, glad to be reunited with their family and friends after 3 long months spent apart. Take a look.
Absolutely incredible. It's a really good vibe.
It's been a hectic day. To start the business back up again after 100 days of being closed is a mean feat.
And now our attention turns to the next vaccination milestone, that 80% double dose vaccination mark, which is set to come on October 25th and will be afforded more freedoms. We'll be able to travel freely in New South Wales, have more home visitors, nightclubs will reopen, masks will be ditched at work. Now, the state government today has announced a boost for small business. They'll be able to recoup the cost of road tolls up to $2,000. That's a major expense, and other government fees too. Grants will also be given out to businesses up to $20,000 who won't be able to reopen over the summer because of lockdown. The Premier stressing we need to get moving. Lockdown has costed us $1 billion a week.
Let's bring in Sunrise reporter Nathan Curry in Melbourne. Some big changes to the vaccine rollout in Victoria, Nathan, and it could help fast-track freedoms there.
It's exciting, Nat. There is some suggestion that we could hit 70% and end lockdown on October 21, which is almost a week earlier than first expected. We've really picked up the pace, and that's all because of the work our youngest eligible Victorians have been doing, and because of their efforts, Pfizer and Moderna are now being offered to everyone at our state hubs. In fact, at some of them you won't even need an appointment. You can just walk up and pick the vaccine of your choice. Up until now, over 60s have been made to get AstraZeneca, so it's hoped that this big change will encourage those still holding out to finally roll up their sleeve and get that jab and get us out of this sooner. When we do open up, we're all going to need a vaccine passport. A trial has begun in some parts of regional Victoria, and there were plenty of teething issues yesterday with many people having trouble figuring out how to get that certificate to appear on the app on their phone. But at least we've got a couple of weeks before it's rolled out and made compulsory across the state, Nat.
OK, thank you, Nathan.
Let's get more news now with Eddie.
Thanks, Koshi. Good morning. Queensland has given its strongest hint yet on when the state will reopen its borders. The Health Minister says it's critical for unvaccinated Queenslanders to get the jab as soon as possible.
The target is getting yourself protected in the next 5 to 6 weeks. That is your mission. Get yourself protected, and that helps protect our whole community and allows us to open up.
Queensland is yet to commit to opening its borders once vaccination coverage reaches 80%. A new exemption has been made to the public health order to make life easier for New South Wales residents who entered the ACT for work or medical care. Residents who have been in the ACT for those reasons will no longer need to complete a declaration or follow stay-at-home rules. The rules do not apply to non-New South Wales residents. Contact tracers are right now going over the movements of a COVID-positive mine worker who flew into Adelaide. Authorities say she wasn't at the airport for long, but did catch a taxi to a hotel in the city. There are also concerns about 2 unvaccinated infected truck drivers in country South Australia who failed to check in at any of the stops they made. Taking a pill to treat COVID-19 could soon be a reality, with pharmaceutical giant Merck applying for authorisation in the US. Let's go live now to 7 News US correspondent Tim Lester. Tim, this is a big breakthrough. The new treatment could be available within months.
Eddie, this is Molnupiravir. Merck hopes it has the first oral treatment for COVID-19 sufferers in a trial of more than 700 globally. Merck got such good results at preventing COVID-19 sufferers from having to go to hospital that they stopped the trial and have now taken the data to America's Food and Drug Administration. They're asking for emergency approval and confident enough to get it to say that they will produce 10 million courses of this drug by the end of the year. The US already has an order in for 1.7 million. Australia, among the early countries to cement orders with Merck, has 300,000 courses ordered, confident that the FDA will give this, the first oral pill to treat COVID-19, the emergency nod. Eddie?
Amazing scientific breakthrough. Thank you, Tim. A Victorian government minister has lost his job in Cabinet following fresh allegations of branch stacking. Labor MP Luke Dinellan has resigned, moving to the backbench after being accused of paying party membership fees on behalf of others at an anti-corruption inquiry. Dinellan admits he broke the rules as a minister but says he never misused public funds. Federal Labor member Anthony Byrne also admitted to being aware of rigged party ballots during that same inquiry. More than 280 Australian citizens and permanent residents remain in Afghanistan almost 2 months after the Taliban seized power. Officials told a parliamentary hearing in Canberra that 129 Australians and 157 permanent residents have registered with the federal government. The hearing heard many are unwilling to leave because they are still trying to get visas for other family members. Around 100,000 Afghans are seeking safe haven in Australia. The Prime Minister is leading calls for unity among the coalition to combat climate change and commit to net zero emissions. Let's go live now to political reporter Taylor Aitken in Canberra. Taylor, they will require support from the Nationals, of course.
They sure will, Eddie, and the Nationals have been very clear they're not willing to put jobs in regional Australia at risk. The issue of net zero emissions by 2050 is set to be a hot topic at party room meetings next week as the government looks to strike a deal with the Nationals that ensures regional communities and jobs aren't left behind. Scott Morrison is under increasing pressure to commit to net zero emissions by 2050 ahead of a climate conference in Glasgow next month. But Prime Minister hasn't even committed to attending that conference at this stage, drawing a surprise reaction from senior royal figures.
Scott Morrison, the Australian PM, isn't even certain that he could make it to the meeting in Glasgow?
Is that what he said, is he?
He did say, yeah.
Scott Morrison is well aware he will need to strike a deal with the Nationals if he is to attend Glasgow with a climate policy in hand. Eddie?
Didn't go down well with Prince Charles, did it? Thank you very much, Taylor. Australia's east coast is in for a soaking this week with a month's worth of rain predicted in the space of a few days. Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne can expect a soggy week with northeastern New South Wales to be hit the hardest. Byron, Ballina, Tweed and Lismore could see around 100 millimetres of rain. After damning testimony about its impact on young users, Facebook has unveiled new safety controls for kids. There'll soon be a take a break warning, prompting kids to get off Instagram, plus moves to address its own research that shows the app is harming children's mental health.
We're going to introduce something which I think will make a considerable difference, which is where our systems see that a teen is looking at the same content over and over again, and it's content which may not be conducive to their well-being, we will nudge them to look at other content.
There'll also be new optional controls for adults to supervise what teenagers are doing online. More than 1 million Australians have rushed into the vaccine lottery just 1 week after the competition launched. A group of philanthropists and corporations funded what's called the $1 Million Vax Alliance in a bid to boost the country's vaccine rate. The big prize will be drawn in November, and the winner needs to be fully immunised by December the 13th to claim the $1 million. There's fresh hope this morning for more than 200,000 Australians with Parkinson's disease. Researchers say cannabis could be the key to stopping the disorder in its tracks. Sufferers will be given a non-intoxicating component of the drug in a new trial on the Gold Coast. It's hoped the treatment will become the first to not only alleviate symptoms, but stop the disease from developing further. A Melbourne father is being hailed a miracle man after receiving a world record-breaking heart transplant. The organ spent more than 7 hours in a box during the life-saving operation.
18 months ago, Andrew Conway died in his sleep. Now he's training for a charity run.
A lot more stamina. I couldn't go upstairs before. I couldn't walk very far, I couldn't walk up hills.
The 55-year-old received a donor heart earlier this year, his new heart surviving more than 7 hours outside the human body, but it wasn't kept on ice. Instead, inside a specialist heart box.
It's like a mini heart-lung machine, the machine that we use for supporting patients during heart surgery.
A trial of the Swedish technology is currently underway in Melbourne and Sydney. It doubles the time a heart can survive outside the body.
We're lucky and grateful. Like this, the whole thing's, the heart in the box is fantastic.
150 Australians receive a donor heart each year. It's hoped this technology will expand that number. It's particularly useful in Australia, where an organ might need to travel thousands of kilometres to save a life.
Britain's Met Police have dropped their investigation into allegations of sex abuse against Prince Andrew. Police reviewed several documents, including one relating to the US civil lawsuit launched by Virginia Giuffre. She alleges she was forced to have sex with the Prince when she was only 17 years old. Prince Andrew has always denied the allegations. 4 huge cooling towers at a power station in the UK have been demolished in a spectacular controlled implosion. The 4 towers at Eggborough in Yorkshire came crashing down in a cloud of smoke and debris. It took more than 9 months of planning to demolish the 91-metre high structures. Star Trek actor William Shatner has undergone his last training session before he heads to the final frontier. The 90-year-old actor is preparing for liftoff with 3 other crew members aboard the Blue Origin. The launch of the new Shepard vehicle will take place tomorrow in Texas.
Toy giant Lego has pledged to remove gender bias from its products after a global study found children were being held back by gender stereotypes. Let's go live now to 7 News Europe correspondent Sarah Greenhalgh. Sarah, Lego plans to make its toys more inclusive.
It does, Eddie. Good morning. The Danish toy maker, the world's largest, commissioned this report surveying 7,000 mums, dads and kids across 7 different countries, and it found that 71% of boys feared that someone would make fun of them if they played with a toy considered to be a girl's. It also found that parents encouraged their sons towards sport, technology and science, while girls were encouraged to dance, dress up or bake. So as a result of this study, Lego is now vowing, as you say, to remove all gender bias and stereotypes from its products. So already it's no longer labelling its toys as either for boys or for girls. When you go onto the Lego website, you can't search for products based on gender. You search by passions or interests, but it hasn't elaborated any further about how things could change. Now, Eddie, social media has, of course, reacted as social media does, with some people of the opinion that the world has gone mad. Other people are saying that these attitudes should have been recognised and acted on a long time ago.
Oh, thank you very much for that, Sarah. It's a really interesting one when you have kids. We're very conscious of not just playing with dolls at our house, but also Molly's got a tool set and all sorts of different toys. Footy, thank you, Barrett's, for that. Old second-hand footy from Beretta's desk. But yeah, so we make a big effort in our house to make sure that she doesn't just play with toys that are so-called for girls.
Okay, so she gravitates to them, you go, no, you can't play with that?
No, of course not. But
what does she gravitate towards?
The tool set, actually.
Does she?
Loves it.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it's hard when you've got only one sex, because we just had boys, so I guess we just didn't buy dolls.
I didn't know Lego had on there 4 boys and 4 girls, different Lego sets. I do remember that, I'd actually never noticed that before. I thought it was just for
and
anybody.
it's the same with books and clothes. Like, we don't really buy things with princesses on them or unicorns, really. Like, I don't know, we just try to take
I think sometimes when they get
narrow
older,
line.
they seem to gravitate towards stuff, though. Our neighbours were sort of not into the princess thing until they got to about 6, and then it was like, princess, princess, princess.
Yeah, and of course, if that's what she loves.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's
And I think you worry about it with your first, and then the second you don't. like most things.
If you're lucky enough to have an older sister who will dress you up.
Well, see, AJ was the only teenage boy who knew every move out of Dirty Dancing.
See, great strategic
and
plays well down the track.
It
Long
does.
game.
Oh boy, it does. It was every girl's friend after that.
Let's get a weather check. James Tobin is in Western Sydney, where the push is on to get even more people vaccinated.
Yeah, he'd be a Dirty Dancing sort of guy.
Well, I reckon this is the sort of Dirty Dancing kind of place. Kudos Bank Arena, it's normally famous for concerts, but instead these days it's the biggest vaccination centre in New South Wales. So we've put a pause on the entertainment for a moment. We're focusing on everyone getting vaccinated. And I guess by default, most Australians are now vaccinated, but we're still pushing to get more people vaccinated. Obviously, yesterday in Sydney, a lot of people who are double vaccinated got the first taste of some freedoms. We want everyone to be there. So we're going to walk you through the process. If you haven't come along for your first vaccination yet, you can see exactly what it's like, how easy it is, and get that ticked off the list. Let's start with the weather.
Sunrise Weather, brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
Mostly fine for Cairns and Townsville. Showers for Rockhampton. Similar conditions in Bundaberg. Raining in times at Toowoomba, and Brisbane raining at times with a top of 20. Morning shower set for Bourke. Raining in Coffs Harbour. Showers for Newcastle. Sydney, showers at 19. Partly cloudy and 15 for Canberra. Mostly fine in Mildura. Cloudy in Ballarat. Melbourne, cloudy and 21. Partly cloudy for Strawn and Swansea. Hobart, cloudy and 17. Adelaide, mostly sunny and 23. A late shower or 2 for Port Lincoln. Fine and sunny in Ceduna, sunny for Alice Springs. Darwin, mostly fine and 34. And in the west, showers and windy for Albany. Perth, cloudy and 18. Sunny for Kalgoorlie, fine for Broome, and wind easing in Exmouth. So I'm the eldest, then it's my brother, then it's my sister. So our family was more like our poor sister just being terrorised for our whole life, and now I think we fortified her. She's now the very strong and capable one in the family.
I could not imagine you terrorising anyone, JT.
No, too nice.
Mostly dark side, I think.
Let's not get my sister on the show.
He's got a dark side, according to that.
But when you've got, like me, I had 2 brothers, and you do just tend towards playing,
whatever they're playing.
Killing people. There wasn't a lot of dolls in our house either.
That explains a lot. How'd you like to win some cash?
The Sunrise Cash Cow.
Cash Cow, 10 grand to give away, where we call our lucky winner to be in the next draw. You need the code word PATCH.
Now, SMS the daily code word and your full name and address to 19777 Entries close at 4:30pm Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
In just a moment, game on. The Ashes given the all clear with crowds. The countdown begins to a massive summer of cricket on 7.
Bring it on, and striking success. The Socceroos look to extend their world record winning streak to 12 matches.
Sunrise Sport, brought to you by Optus 5G. Get the latest 5G phone at the best price guaranteed.
Welcome back, Barreto Sport.
Big morning too. Cricket Australia expects the Ashes to go ahead in full with crowds. After months of negotiations, England have all but confirmed they will tour Australia this summer. But Cricket Australia says state border blocks won't cause a reshuffle of venues, with Perth's test to remain after Melbourne and Sydney's.
There's been a huge amount of work over many months to get to this point, and I think everyone is just really now looking forward to that first ball at the Gabba.
You betcha, and that's happening at the Gabba on December the 8th. We can't wait. Hitting the wicket of Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers or Glenn Maxwell would be a career highlight for most bowlers. West Indies' Sunil Narine took all 3 in a single innings in Kolkata's IPL elimination playoff against Bangalore.
And it's taken, that's Maxwell gone. Sunil Narine is having the time of his life here in Sharjah.
Yeah, Narine followed his 4-fer with a quick-fire 26 runs as Kolkata beat Bangalore by 4 wickets and move within a win of the final. The Redcliffe Dolphins bid have denied reports they're set to be named the NRL's 17th team this week. The ARL Commission meets on Thursday, where it's expected to announce who gets the licence, with the Dolphins the heavy front runners. The Proven Summons Trophy is now residing in the trophy cabinet at Panthers Leagues Club after some quick repairs following the club's grand final celebrations. And Penrith star Nathan Cleary will have shoulder surgery tomorrow, which could sideline him until the early rounds of next season. The Socceroos are out to extend their world record winning streak to 12 matches against fierce rivals Japan in Saitama tonight. Coach Graham Arnold expects the dream run through World Cup qualifying to continue.
Because I expect 12 straight tomorrow night, so why celebrate or reflect on something that's not over?
They're in rare form, and with the Blue Samurai struggling, they're never had a better chance to notch their first win over Japan in more than a decade. Go the Socceroos. A boost for racing fans, with the crowd for Saturday's $15 million Everest race doubled to 10,000 people at Randwick. One person who wouldn't look out of place in the race, flowing mane included, is sprinter Rowan Browning. The Olympian, proving manpower can overcome horsepower, beating Everest runner Lost and Running, ridden by champion jockey Hugh Bowman, in a handicap sprint on the Randwick Straight.
Hearing those hoofs come down was just thunderous, and I was definitely driven by fear more than anything else.
Saturday's Everest race is live on 7. They talk about hearing the footprints behind you when you're out on the running track. Imagine hearing the hooves coming down the track behind you. That would get you going. Can run though, Rowan, can't he?
Oh, he can.
And the mullet is just looking magnificent at the moment too. That is Everest ready right there.
It's a silly idea, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, really was it?
Oh, it's great.
Yesterday you sort of go, but today, wow,
awesome.
That was great.
Was good.
Coming up, ramping up the rollout. Victoria to get a major boost, with Pfizer and Moderna now available to anyone over the age of 12.
Plus, the alarming new statistics on kids' mental health, why so many parents are not confident spotting the signs.
New overnight, the taste of freedom. Families and friends savour time together after 3 months apart. Sydney springs back to life, more restrictions to go within weeks, and new help for the recovery.
Developing now, Melbourne's vaccine push, 70% in sight, major changes to roll out rules, speeding up Victoria's roadmap.
New developments, COVID pill, the first steps to approve a virus treatment. Australia has already bought 300,000 doses, how it could be a shot in the arm to end the pandemic.
Weather warning, East Coast drenching, storms, a month's worth of rain and a cyclone expected before Christmas.
Plus, Australia's SAS superwoman, now Jana Pittman, is facing her toughest challenge yet. She's live on her surprise baby news.
And bursting onto the big screen, your guide to the hottest new blockbusters hitting the cinemas. It's Tuesday, the 12th of October, 2021.
Right across Australia, this is Sunrise on 7. Now live from Brekkie Central, Kochie and Nat.
Hello and welcome to Sunrise. Also coming up this Tuesday, the bank of mum and dad. What parents need to know before giving their kids a leg up on the property ladder. It's a special report.
And how kids have got to be nice. And Lego gets a massive makeover. The big changes coming to one of the world's most loved toys.
But first to new developments in Sydney's recovery, and the next vaccine milestone is on the horizon this morning. 80% fully vaxxed. It will trigger an easing of more restrictions after millions enjoyed their first day out of lockdown. Friends, families and couples were reunited across the city for the first time in months.
After so long, finally that sweet taste of freedom. Restaurants, the toast of the town, as Sydney celebrated the end of 106 days locked up.
We're also glad that everyone's getting back to the hospitality.
From the city to the suburbs, the queues enormous. People needed retail therapy. The doors rolled up, the covers came off.
It's the best feeling to be shopping again and being out of the house. It's amazing.
But it was Sydney's salons most in demand.
Oh man, it's the best thing ever, eh? Like, it was just getting out of control.
Tens of thousands of retail staff back at work checking vaccine certificates.
Yeah, all good, thank you. And sanitize.
But perhaps the most special freedom moments at our nursing homes.
Long time no see, eh?
Yeah, well.
Nearly 4 months.
4 months apart after 68 years married. Jen and Peter Blacklock united again, the sweetest of reunions on a day like no other.
It felt wrong that you were together for so long and then suddenly you can't be.
Live now to 7 News reporter Serena Andaloro in Parramatta. Serena, Sydney-siders didn't waste their first opportunity in months to catch up with family and friends.
Yeah, Nat, although it was a much quieter night than we thought, people cautiously easing back into freedom. The crowds were nowhere near what they would be on, say, a pre-lockdown Saturday night. But still, people from the west to the city were out and about and keen to get out and reunite with their families and friends after so long spent apart, 3 months apart. Take a look.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. It's a really good vibe.
It's been a hectic day. To start the business back up again after 100 days of being closed is a mean feat.
And now our attention turns to the next vaccination milestone, the 80% mark, which we're expected to hit on October 25th, and we'll be afforded more freedoms. We'll be able to travel anywhere in New South Wales freely, have more people inside our homes, nightclubs will reopen, masks will be ditched at work. Now, the state government has announced today a new support package for small businesses. They will be able to recoup the cost of road tolls, a major expense, up to $2,000. They'll also be able to be given a grant of up to $20,000 if they aren't able to reopen over the summer. The Premier stressing we need to get moving. The lockdown costed us $1 billion a week.
Let's bring in Sunrise reporter Nathan Curry in Melbourne. Some big changes to the vaccine rollout in Victoria, and it could help fast-track freedoms there.
It really could, Nat. There is some suggestion now we could hit 70% and end lockdown on October 21, which is almost a week earlier than that was planned in our roadmap. That's all because of the great work our youngest eligible Victorians are doing to get a jab, and because of their efforts, Pfizer and Moderna are now being offered to everyone at our state hubs. In fact, you won't even need an appointment at some of the big ones like Jeff Shed behind me. You can just walk up and pick the vaccine of your choice. Up until now, over 60s had been made to get AstraZeneca, so it's hoped that this change will encourage those still holding out to get across the line and roll up their sleeve and get a jab and get us out of this lockdown sooner, Nat.
Exactly. Let's hope so. Thanks very much, Nathan.
Let's get more news now with Eddie.
Thanks, Koshy. Good morning. Queensland has given its strongest hint yet on when the state will reopen its borders. The Health Minister says it's critical for unvaccinated Queenslanders to get the jab as soon as possible.
Getting yourself protected in the next 5 to 6 weeks. That is your mission. Get yourself protected, and that helps protect our whole community and allows us to open up.
Queensland is yet to commit to opening its borders once vaccination coverage reaches 80%. Taking a pill to treat COVID-19 could soon be a reality, with pharmaceutical giant Merck applying for authorisation in the US. Let's go live now to 7 News US correspondent Tim Lester. Tim, this new treatment could be available within months.
Eddie, it's called Molnupiravir, and Merck has designed it to interfere with the replication of coronavirus in the bodies of those who already suffer COVID-19. Now, they had this in a global trial, more than 700 patients around the world. The results at preventing hospitalisation, cutting in half about hospitalisation numbers, were so impressive that Merck has ended the trial, and it's now taken that data to America's Food and Drug Administration, confirming this morning that the application is in to approve Molnupiravir in time to get it distributed before the end of the year. It plans 10 million doses before then. The US has already ordered 1.7 million. Australia is among countries to place early orders, 300,000 doses. So we may, within weeks, have a pill to treat COVID-19. Eddie?
Amazing work from our scientists again. Thank you, Tim. A Victorian government minister has lost his job in cabinet following fresh allegations of branch stacking. Labor MP Luke Donnellan has resigned, moving to the backbench after being accused of paying party membership fees on behalf of others at an anti-corruption inquiry. Donnellan admits he broke the rules as a minister, but says he never misused public funds. Federal Labor member Anthony Byrne also admitted to being aware of rigged party ballots during the inquiry. Net zero is expected to be a major topic at party room meetings this week as the coalition looks for ways to reach the emissions target. Scott Morrison is pledging to protect regional communities, saying the party must come together to combat climate change. The Prime Minister will meet with Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce this week to finalise the government's long-term emissions strategy. Australia's east coast is in for a soaking this week, with a month's worth of rain predicted in the space of a few days. Sydney and Melbourne can expect a soggy week, with northeastern New South Wales to be hit the hardest. Byron, Ballina, Tweed and Lismore could see around 100 millimetres of rain. There's fresh hope for more than 200,000 Australians with Parkinson's disease. Researchers say cannabis could be the key to stopping the disorder in its tracks. Sufferers will be given a non-intoxicating component of the drug in a new trial taking place on the Gold Coast. It's hoped the treatment will become the first to not only alleviate symptoms, but stop the disease from developing further. Lego has announced plans to remove gender bias from its toys to make the products more inclusive. A global survey by the toy maker found children were being held back by gender stereotypes. 71% of boys feared they would be made fun of if they played with what they described as girls' toys. Lego says the change is to ensure children's ambitions are not limited by gender. Now here's Koshy with Finance.
Sunrise Finance, brought to you by Superhero. Join free today to trade Aussie and US shares.
Yeah, it was a good start to the trading session on Wall Street overnight, but it's fading as the session keeps going on. Currently down 120 points Nasdaq about line ball. To our region, yesterday it was a soggy start on the share market as well as the weather. All odds down 16, ASX 200 by 20. Commodities, and this is where a bit of the action is going on. Gold steady at $1,755 an ounce. That oil price has had another leap up overnight. It's cracked $80 a barrel. And that has oil stocks going higher. The Australian dollar 73.5 US cents, 54 British pence, $1.06 New Zealand. Now, shares of energy companies were the strongest performers on the Aussie share market yesterday. Ryan Felsman from CommSec is with us. Ryan, I suggest that could be the same again today by the look of that oil price.
It certainly is, Koshy. We saw those ASX 200 energy shares up by 1.3% yesterday, extending that rally on the back of the US crude oil price hitting $80 a barrel, the highest level since late 2014. And we have this energy crisis really rolling around the world at the moment, and certainly we've seen prices of natural gas and also coal hit record highs in Europe and Asia recently on the back of strong demand and depleted inventories and stockpiles. And of course we are seeing a switching taking place as those energy prices become more expensive to oil-based products such as kerosene and diesel. At the same time, we're seeing supply restraint from producers such as OPEC, and also oil disruption and gas disruption in the US Gulf of Mexico from hurricanes, really surging that US oil price. So the US oil price is up by 30% since mid-August. We've seen Beach Energy shares here in Australia up by 38% and Woodside Petroleum shares up by 32%. Yesterday, Ampol, it saw its shares up by 3% to $30 a barrel, or $30 a share, and that was on the back of a binding agreement with Z Energy in New Zealand. The arrangement's about 2.8 billion New Zealand dollars for that takeover deal, Koshy.
Yeah, and coal producer Whitehaven, its share price has almost doubled since June, hasn't it?
That's right. Just it was up 6% yesterday, Koshy. So good times for the coal producers at the moment.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. Thank you for that. Here's that.
Coming up today, game on. The Ashes given the all clear with crowds. The countdown begins to a massive summer of cricket. And she's a superwoman who doesn't shy away from a challenge. Jana Pittman is live on SAS Australia, and her surprise baby news. Welcome back, Brett has sport.
Morning, guys. Big morning too. Cricket Australia expects the Ashes to go ahead in full with crowds. After months of negotiations, England have all but confirmed they'll tour Australia this summer. But Cricket Australia says state border blocks won't cause a reshuffle of venues, with Perth's test to remain after Melbourne and Sydney's. The first test at the Gabba starts on December the 8th. Of course, you'll see the whole summer of cricket right here on 7. Getting the wicket of Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers or Glenn Maxwell would be a career highlight for most bowlers. West Indies' Sunil Narine took all three within 3 overs in Kolkata's IPL elimination playoff against Bangalore. He then followed up his forfer with a quick-fire 26 runs as Kolkata beat Bangalore by 4 wickets and moved within a win of the final. The Redcliffe Dolphins bid have denied reports that they're set to be named the NRL's 17th team this week. The ARL Commission meets on Thursday, where it's expected to announce who gets the licence, with the Dolphins the heavy frontrunners. The Provan Summons Trophy is now safely residing in the trophy cabinet at Panthers Leagues Club after some quick repairs following the club's grand final celebrations. And Penrith star Nathan Cleary will have surgery tomorrow on his shoulder that could sideline him until the early rounds of next season. Yes, it's good to see the trophy back in one piece, repaired and looking.
Do we know the extent of the damage?
Wasn't good.
How smashed up was it?
Really bad.
Well, there's a bit of separation of parts of the trophy.
A bit of quick grip on the bottom of that.
A lot of quick grip and a bit of polishing up and a bit of corners, you know.
For those who don't know, that trophy is the heaviest, biggest thing you've ever seen in your life.
It's at least a 2-person lifting job, isn't it?
Absolutely. A Sherman tank wouldn't be able to crush it.
Yeah. If we just go back to those pictures of the after party, you sort of get a sense of how it might have got a little bit damaged.
Yeah, you do.
I don't even know whether we need
very
pictures.
Clear. There you go, a bit of separation.
Okay.
We kind of get it.
Anyway, all's good now. It's in the trophy cabinet and we'll be safe.
They had fun on the night.
Yeah, they had fun.
Yeah, JT. Is it a vaccination centre in Western Sydney?
That's right. In fact, the biggest one in Western Sydney is Kudos Bank Arena, where today we could have anywhere between 4,000 and 10,000 people coming through, and Dr Emma McCann has been in charge of running the vaccination centres in Western Sydney. Let me first ask by asking, how did you feel yesterday when Sydney and New South Wales started to get some freedoms? How did that make you feel?
Good morning. It made me feel really proud of all of New South Wales and particularly Sydney who've come out and got vaccinated, and the huge role we've been able to play here at Kudos Bank Arena vaccinating so many people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people yesterday must have thought, wow, that's the first taste, we can really get there. And hopefully it's encouraged a lot of people to come if they were a little bit hesitant.
Absolutely, and I hope anyone who hasn't been vaccinated yet is keen to find out more about how safe it is to get vaccinated, how easy it is, and we invite them to come on down and get vaccinated here.
So how easy is it? What's the time from arrival to when you walk out the door vaccinated?
It takes about 30 minutes. You come through, it's a little bit like an airport, you get a little sticker that says, this is who I am, go through, get vaccinated, sit down on the arena floor just as if you're at a concert for 15 minutes and then out the other end.
How big is the team that's working here?
So on a busy day, we have about 1,000 people working here, everything from students who've been trained to vaccinate, nurses, doctors supervising them, Qantas staff helping with the flow, the arena staff helping run the whole arena. It's been a great experience to work with all these people.
Yeah, you've done an amazing job. You know, we need to get you on haircuts. Can we do it? Can we add on haircuts at the end?
I'm sure it'll take a little longer to get through, though.
I think people will be happy to wait. Let's have a look at your weather forecast.
Sunrise weather brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
In Brisbane, raining at times, 21 degrees, a shower or two in Sydney and 19. Canberra, partly cloudy and 15, partly cloudy and 21 for Melbourne. Hobart, partly cloudy and 17, mostly fine and 23 for Adelaide. Perth, cloudy and 18, and in Darwin, mostly sunny and 34 degrees. We're at 70% at the moment. We're getting close to 80%. What's the mood in the vaccination centres like for the people who are working here and getting the job done?
I think it was really exciting to see so many people be able to go out yesterday and know that they were double vaxxed, and the team just really wants to take us those few extra percent, get us up. So we would love people to just come down and get vaccinated.
Yeah. Lastly, on a professional level, what's it been like working in a global pandemic? How much of the university focus was on global pandemics?
I don't remember that particular lecture, but I think what it's taught me is what a whole team can do to look after the people of Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, everything from health to, police and ADF and Qantas, like everyone has come together. For a good reason and for something that was strange and new and a bit scary, but they all just dug in and look what we've achieved.
Yeah, it was so exciting to see people getting some freedoms back yesterday and more to come. So keep up the good work, Australia. See you back here in Kudos Bank Arena in half an hour's time. Thanks very much, Emma.
It is remarkable the work the community has come together on this. Mm-hmm. It is just stunning. One of the fastest take-ups in the world. We were slow getting there because it wasn't a race to start with, but when we set our mind to it...
Once we realised it was a race, we were into it.
Yeah. We're good at racing. Racing we do well.
But also we're good at coming together as a community to get something achieved.
And in
it's
Victoria
just fantastic.
too, some of the LGAs in Victoria, particularly in Melbourne, have over 95% vaccination rate. It is amazing.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Ahead on Sunrise, energy price shock. The real cost of staying loyal. What you need to know to switch and save.
Plus the house purchases being bankrolled by mum and dad. Advice for parents giving their kids a leg up on the property ladder.
There are concerns many households are paying too much for electricity. Would you believe in New South Wales, prices have fallen to their lowest levels since 2015. But experts say people are not shopping around to get a better deal. The Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal has found the influx of rooftop solar systems is the main driver of cheaper wholesale costs. More retailers have also entered the market. Joining me now, Sandra Gamble from the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal. Sandra, this would stun most people that power prices are down. What sorts of savings could customers make if you shop around?
Well, most customers can save around $300 a year on their electricity and $350 a year on their gas. And that's by moving from a default offer to a market offer. And we really encourage customers to do that because we think there's probably only about 20% of customers that are.
This is really fascinating. How much more competition is there in the market these days, and what has that meant for customers?
Okay, so about 16 retailers have joined the electricity market over the last 2 years. Gas, it's remained pretty stable. So they're offering, better prices, but possibly the most exciting part is that they're offering new services, often retail offerings wrapped up with batteries and solar and potentially EVs in the future. And that's not only good news for customers who can make more savings over time, but potentially be part of the transition to the low carbon future that we all want.
How can you track down these best deals?
Okay, for most states, New South Wales, ACT, Queensland, South Australia and Tasmania, you can go to the ACCC's Energy Made Easy site, which is energymadeeasy.gov.au. That's a trusted independent comparator site. And in Victoria, you can go to the Energy Compare website. And there you can have your bill in front of you and you can get a like-for-like offer that's potentially better than the one you have now. But if you're looking for some of these more innovative offerings, you need to keep an eye out for the offerings. Yeah. But make sure you do your sums to make sure that those new offerings are in your interest.
Sandra, that is a great piece of advice. I think most Australians would be shocked by that. Thank you for telling us about it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good on you. Nat, go to the ACCC website. Easy.
I am going today.
Yes.
Still to come, weather alert. The East Coast expecting a drenching. A month's worth of rain expected in the space of a few days. We're live with forecasts. And grab the popcorn, your guide to the big new blockbusters hitting cinemas. Back now at 6:30, still ahead this morning, Royal Fuel. Prince Charles reveals what his favourite car runs on, and it's not petrol.
News time now. Here's Eddie.
Thank you, Koshi. Millions in New South Wales have enjoyed their first full day out of lockdown, with the next major vaccination milestone already on the horizon. The state is charging to 80% fully vaxxed, triggering even more freedoms, including eased travel and mask restrictions. Restaurants welcome back customers with open arms overnight, and families and friends returning to dining across Sydney. It's great to see. There's been a major change to help speed up Victoria's vaccine rollout too. Pfizer and Moderna jabs will now be given to anybody over the age of 12. It means over 60s will be eligible for those vaccines too. They were previously only able to book AstraZeneca. The new changes follow the success of the rollout on school-age students.
That's therefore allowed us to now essentially throw open the doors to mRNA vaccines at all points of contact.
Vaccine passports are also being trialled in 6 council areas across Victoria. Queensland has given its strongest hint yet on when the state will reopen its borders to the rest of Australia. The Health Minister says it's critical for unvaccinated Queenslanders to get the jab soon.
The target is getting yourself protected in the next 5 to 6 weeks. That is your mission. Get yourself protected, and that helps protect our whole community and allows us to open up.
Queensland is yet to commit to opening its borders once vaccination coverage reaches 80%. The makers of an antiviral pill used to treat COVID-19 have applied for emergency use authorisation from the US regulator. American pharmaceutical giant Merck has submitted the application for Molnupiravir. Early trials of the drug have shown it can reduce hospitalisation and death by 50%. The Australian government has bought 300,000 courses of the pill. A Victorian government minister has lost his job in cabinet following fresh allegations of branch stacking. Labor MP Luke Donnellan has resigned, moving to the backbench after being accused of paying party membership fees on behalf of others at an anti-corruption inquiry. Donnellan admits he broke the rules as a minister, but says he never misused public funds. Federal Labor member Anthony Byrne also admitted to being aware of rigged party ballots during the inquiry. Australia's east coast is in for a soaking this week, with a month's worth of rain predicted in the space of just a few days. Sydney and Melbourne can expect a soggy week, with northeastern New South Wales to be hit the hardest. Byron, Ballina, Tweed and Lismore could see around 100 millimetres of rain. Prince Charles has revealed the secret recipe he uses to power his beloved Aston Martin. The Prince's favourite car has been converted to run on wine and cheese. The Aston Martin uses a fuel called E85. It's actually made from surplus English white wine and whey from the cheese-making process. Charles has been driving the car for more than 50 years. It was a gift from the Queen for his 21st birthday. That wouldn't work here because there's just no surplus wine.
What's the exhaust smell like?
Good. Here's Kochie with finance.
Sunrise Finance, brought to you by Superhero. Join free today to trade Aussie and US shares.
Market started pretty well in the US overnight, but as faded as the session has gone on, it's continuing to drop. It's still trading at the moment. A bit of nervousness ahead of the third quarter earnings season, which starts an increase in oil prices. To our region, yesterday we had a damp start to the week, down 16 and 20 points on our major indices to the commodities. Now gold trading at $1,755 an ounce. That oil price is the one that's taken a bit of a lead up, cracking $80 a barrel overnight. And the Aussie dollar is 73.5 US cents, 83 Japanese yen, 54 British pence. Mining giant Fortescue Metals Group has been a really strong performer on the stock exchange because of iron ore prices. Ryan Felsman from CommSec is with us. Ryan, Fortescue Chairman Andrew Forrest is trying to reposition the miner away from iron ore into future energy, isn't he?
Well, that's right, Kochie. We saw shares of Fortescue Metals up by 5.3% yesterday to $15 a share, and that's after Andrew Forrest announced a new initiative around renewable energies, and he's trying to pivot, as you say, Kochie, from being an iron ore-focused miner to being a green renewables specialist. And of course, what we saw yesterday is Fortescue's renewable energy and industry initiative arm, Fortescue Futures Industries, committing to a $1 billion green hydrogen manufacturing unit in Gladstone, Queensland. And of course, what we have seen is the plant is expected to generate around 300 jobs in central Queensland as Queensland transforms into a green renewables powerhouse. And certainly what we have seen is a focus on green hydrogen, which is hydrogen less those fossil fuels as the world looks towards those cleaner sources of energy in particular, and with the real focus certainly on those net zero emissions. We've got the Climate Change Summit in Glasgow next month, Kochie.
Yeah, all right. Good move by Fortescue there. Thank you, Ryan. Here's Brett's of Sport.
Sunrise Sport, brought to you by Optus 5G. Get the latest 5G phone at the best price guaranteed.
Good news, it's on this summer. Cricket Australia is confident crowds will be back for the Ashes and it will go ahead as planned. After months of negotiations, England have all but confirmed they will tour Australia this summer. But Cricket Australia says state border blocks won't cause a reshuffle of venues, with Perth's test to remain after Melbourne and Sydney's. The first test at the Gabba starts on December the 8th. The NBL has pushed back the start of its new season a few weeks, but it's good news for basketball fans. The new season will begin on December the 3rd with Tasmania's new team to play the Adelaide 36ers in the opener in Hobart. But the NBL expect fans will be allowed back into the stadiums to cheer on their teams, potentially at full capacity. There's a big shake-up coming for the Commonwealth Games, which could see sports like T20 cricket and 3-on-3 basketball become mainstays. A proposed roadmap would give hosts the ability to tailor their sports programs and propose new ones to be introduced, with only swimming and athletics to be compulsory. The changes would be introduced in time for the 2026 or the 2030 Games. Next year's Games in Birmingham begin on July the 28th. Can't wait for that. A big boost for racing fans too, with a crowd for Saturday's $15 million Everest race doubled to 10,000 people at Randwick. One person who wouldn't look out of place in the race, flowing mane included, is sprinter Rowan Browning. The Olympian proving manpower can overcome horsepower. beating Everest runner Lost in Running, ridden by champion jockey Hugh Bowman in a handicap sprint on the Randwick Straight. Now, Saturday's Everest race is live on 7. Hugh Rowan, he is the rocket, isn't he?
Yeah, the song says it all.
Good race. Yeah. Worked out really well.
Expected Hugh to go a bit slower, but it didn't look like it.
No,
belting
he
up
hammered,
straight
didn't he? Oh, yeah. A racer is a racer.
I know. He said he thought he'd done the calculation, so they'd be about even.
Obviously, he did the calculation.
Yeah,
hopefully his calculations are better at the actual Everest.
Yeah.
James Tobin is in Western Sydney, where the push is on to get even more people vaxxed.
Yes, I'm playing the role of vaccination Bono this morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning to all you wonderful healthcare workers. The people keeping us safe. And we've also got Monica and Lily. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Morning, Tim.
So, Monica, what do you do here?
I'm the administration team leader for the vaccination
And what's this experience been like for you, working in this huge vaccination centre?
It's been awesome. We see different people from all kinds of parts of Sydney. It's great to be able to contribute to vaccinating Sydney,
And Lily, the process, when people come in, one of the first people they speak to is you.
Yep, that's right, Tim. And we take them through, we ask them what questions, if they have any medical conditions, and make sure that they're well and ready to vaccinate. If they do have any questions, we have a chat to them and try to ease their concerns. And if they have any serious health issues, we take them to the doctors and have a medical assessment.
Fantastic. Well, let's have a look at your weather forecast.
Sunrise weather, brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
Mostly fine for Cairns and Townsville. Showers for Rockhampton. Similar conditions to Bundaberg and raining in Toowoomba. In Brisbane, raining and a top of 21 today. Morning showers in Bourke, raining for Coffs Harbour. Showers in Newcastle. Sydney, showers in 19. Partly cloudy and 15 for Canberra. Mostly fine for Mildura. Partly cloudy for Ballarat. Melbourne, cloudy and a top of 21. Cloudy in Swansea and Strawn. Hobart, cloudy and 17. Adelaide, mostly sunny and 23. A late shower for Port Lincoln. Windy and fine for Ceduna. Sunny in Alice Springs and Darwin, fine and 34. And in the west, showers with wind easing in Albany. Perth, partly cloudy and 18. Sunny for Kalgoorlie, fine in Broome and wind easing in Exmouth. How good are you at smiling with your eyes these days?
We definitely had to practice.
There's such a happy vibe in here and everyone's so friendly. You really only get the sense through the eyes when you can't see them.
Yeah.
Can I give you one tip from when I got my vaccination? I wore a long sleeve shirt. I would advise to wear a t-shirt because you end up having to be pretty much naked in this room. You've got to undo the whole shirt to get your arm out. Not good. Not very comfortable. He wasn't showing. What would your tips be for anyone who's coming to get vaccinated?
Wear a short sleeve, something accessible to the arm. To take off. That's right.
No chainmail. We'll see you back here in half an hour's time. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for all the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
All right, James.
Coming up on Sunrise, the best address, the 2 Australian neighbourhoods named amongst the coolest in the world. See if yours is on the list.
Plus, what Australians are willing to pay for climate change, that fascinating new figure revealed.
And still got it at 60, George Clooney steps back onto the red carpet in a milestone appearance.
Morning Brisbane, much cooler for you than yesterday, reaching 21 degrees, showers expected for most of the day. Gold Coast, similar condition, very high chance of rain, also headed for a top of 21. Sydney, more grey skies today, but a couple of showers due during the day. Currently 15 degrees in the city, heading for a top of just 19. And Melbourne, a beautiful sunny day, a top of 21 degrees. Here's Tack.
Thanks, Koshi. A new survey this morning reveals Australians want action on climate change, but almost half don't want to pay for it. A YouGov poll commissioned by News Corp found 58% of Aussies want to switch to 100% renewable energy by 2050, but 43% aren't prepared to pay extra on their power bill. Almost half believe Australia should continue to export coal as long as there is global demand for it. It's a hot topic this morning. For their take, I'm joined by Justice Party leader Derryn Hinch and media executive Kathy Lipari. Morning to you both. Derryn,
morning.
How are we going to get action on climate change, I guess, if people don't want to pay anything for it?
Look, the only poll that matters is in 5 months' time. It'll be a very brave government that said, yes, we are very serious about climate change and what we should do about it, but it'll cost you money. And people vote the hip pocket, they vote their wallet, and I can't see how they get this. I know, I saw the figures, and you heard Koshy talking about electricity prices just earlier, and this isn't going nowhere.
Kathy, there are also lots of studies now on how advantageous green energy will be for our economy, how many jobs it will create. Don't you think it's a changing of the guard here?
It absolutely is, Nat. And I think if you analyse the statistics, the younger generations are definitely on board with this. It's the older generations that we have to bring on board here. Interestingly, the survey did also find that while about 40% don't want to pay anything, the majority of the population, over 57%, will pay something, the survey showed. Only a small amount potentially, but they are prepared to pay something for it. So I think that's really significant. And, we just have to bring the older generations in line. The government has to fork out money here to make this happen. It's an education piece as well as anything else. We have to bring the population on board here to make sure that this does happen.
Yeah, maybe times have changed since the carbon tax, do you think?
Absolutely.
OK, the Australian government is being urged to donate 20 million extra vaccines to help lower income countries fight COVID-19. It follows a new report that warns 19 nations aren't due to hit 70% double dose until after 2030. Derryn, what about all our AstraZeneca that some people didn't want? What are we doing with that?
Look, until the whole world is vaccinated, none of us are safe. I mean, it's going to come from overseas. The government's announcing we're reopening international airline airfares and airways. So I think it is something we have to do. And I know take care of your own people first. I know how people sometimes in Australia don't like the idea of foreign aid, but I think it's a very wise policy and it's something we have to embrace.
Yeah, Kathy, we also are a nation of travellers, so we'll be getting out there very soon and I guess, potentially bringing back the virus, even if you're fully vaccinated, into this country. We have to think globally, don't we, Alice?
We absolutely do, Nat. COVID-19 is a global issue. We really do have to help our Pacific and Southeast Asian neighbours first. What we've seen with the Delta strain is that the virus mutates and we need to make sure that doesn't happen in other countries, and then travellers and returning Aussies potentially bring that back. So we have to think globally to make sure that we really do get vaccinations up around those critical 70 to 80% levels right across the world. It's imperative, otherwise we will never be free of the horrible impacts.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, this time last year I don't think we'd heard of Delta.
No,
exactly. That was a new strain.
That's right.
Now, 2 Aussie neighbourhoods have been named among the coolest in the world. Richmond in Melbourne's east came in at number 10, praised for its cafes, culture and fashion, while Surrey Hills in Sydney was ranked number 19, credited for its restaurants and bars and all the gorgeous terrace housing. Kathy, what do you think about the list?
Well, I'm sure there's lots of really parochial people who live and love their own individual suburbs, but I've spent a lot of the last 2 decades of my life in Surrey Hills, and I've got to say the absolutely fantastic cafes and bars there, and hopefully we're going to be able to get out and enjoy them soon. And I'm desperate to get down to Richmond to check out their ricotta and blueberry pancakes at Top Paddock in Church Street. I mean, look, it's fantastic to see Australian suburbs in that international list, and like I say, it's awesome that we're going to be able to get out and help support them now that the crisis is starting to wind down a little.
Yeah, Derryn, you're nearly there to Freedom Day, and Richmond, not far, I guess, from you.
No, listen, we may get out a week early, I'm told, a lot of watching sunrise this morning. This will surprise you. I prefer Surrey Hills to Richmond. I do. It's a lovely place, but Richmond, if you want to buy a place, Richmond will be cheaper than buying somewhere in Surrey Hills. So there are pluses on both sides.
Maybe not after this.
Watch this space.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thanks, Nat.
Here's Koshy.
Still to come on Sunrise, one of the most cherished moments of Freedom Day. Jen and Peter married 68 years, separated for 4 months, back together again after lockdown. Plus, the alarming new statistics on kids' mental health, why so many parents are not confident spotting the signs. And the Candyman can, your first look at Timothy Chalamet as Wonka in his new film.
The Sunrise Cash Cow.
The Cash Cow has $10,000 to give away when we call our lucky winner. To be in our next draw, you need the code word PATCH.
Now, SMS the daily code word, your full name and address to 19777 Entries close 4:30 this afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time.
Sunrise Entertainment, brought to you by Wanderlust Plant Active Supplements. Inspired by nature's wisdom, made for now.
Time for some entertainment news now. Sunrise Showbiz editor Nelson Aspin joins me live. Nelson, George and Amal have made a milestone appearance on the red carpet, looking gorgeous as always.
No COVID kilos were gained in that household, that's for sure. They looked stunning. They stepped out. We know George spent a lot of time in lockdown cutting his own hair, but he also confessed that he hadn't worn a suit in 2 years, so I guess he dug it out of the closet, and they stepped out on the red carpet for the London Film Festival and the UK premiere of his film, The Tender Bar. It's his 8th film where he's directing, and the movie stars Ben Affleck, and here they are working that carpet.
Listen, turning 60 is not fun, as you can imagine, but it's better than dead. So I'll take it, and then I'll take whatever job I can. You know what I'm saying? He's not 60, so he can laugh.
Oh, he's just too humble. What is 60? He was 60 last May. He's in great shape, and the film will release early next year.
And a lot of laughs here from the members of the team who might be over 60, Nelson. Behind-the-scenes photos show Timothy Chalamet on set of his new Wonka film. Sort of mixed reviews for his outfit so far, Nelson.
That's right. Well, the first picture he posted, he was saying he was trying to build suspense because the movie's not even going to come out till 2023. And a lot of people thought, oh, there's only one Willy Wonka, that's Gene Wilder. And then Johnny Depp had his turn. And they are comparing Timothy's look a little bit to Gonzo in The Muppets Christmas Carol. In fact, some people are putting side-by-side comparisons saying who wore it better. Someone said, Gonzo, I still can't figure out why there's another Wonka that looks like Christmas Carol. Whatever. Timothy's a good sport, and some people are also criticizing the fact that maybe Willy Wonka shouldn't try to be sexy.
Everyone's a critic, aren't they? I think he's going to be such an amazing actor. We'll wait and see the film, I reckon. A documentary, Nelson, is being released on the mystery surrounding the death of actress and singer Brittany Murphy. This was such a sad story. What can you tell us?
And still a bit of a mystery. Of course, she died back in 2009. She collapsed in her own home. It was ruled as an accidental death. And now a new documentary called Whatever Happened, Brittany Murphy is coming out to examine the circumstances surrounding her death. Take a look.
You start to think, well, okay, who gained from her dying?
There were more unanswered questions after the autopsy came out than there were answered questions.
People start thinking, there's more behind this. There's something else.
Simon had all these secrets.
He actually said people in the government were watching them.
It's being touted as not only investigating the circumstances around her death, but celebrating her legacy as well, Eddie.
Thank you so much for that, Nelson. We'll check in with you soon. Coming up on Sunrise, we're going to give you the biggest wrap-up of the biggest blockbusters coming to cinemas near you. Of course, they've all been delayed because of the pandemic. So we're talking James Bond, new Marvel films as well, new West Side Story with Steven Spielberg. So that will be fantastic. And what do you reckon, Koshi? Is over 60 just better than dead?
That sort of did ring true a bit, didn't it? I just love his sense of humour.
Yeah.
For a superstar, he actually looks a really nice bloke.
Yeah.
He's
always
want to have a chat
irreverent,
with.
isn't he?
You'd have a beer with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If he asked.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Steady
Champagne,
on.
maybe?
It is 7 o'clock. Our top stories on Sunrise.
New overnight, the taste of freedom. Families and friends savour time together after 3 months apart. Sydney springs back to life, more restrictions to go within weeks, and new help for the recovery.
Developing now, Melbourne's vaccine push, 70% in sight, major changes to roll out rules, speeding up Victoria's roadmap.
New developments, COVID pill, the first steps to approve a virus treatment. Australia has already bought 300,000 doses, how it could be a shot in the arm to end the pandemic.
Weather warning, East Coast drenching, storms, a month's worth of rain and a cyclone expected before Christmas.
Plus, Australia's SAS superwoman, now Jana Pittman, is facing her toughest challenge yet. She's live on her surprise baby news.
And bursting onto the big screen, your guide to the hottest new blockbusters hitting the cinemas. It's Tuesday, the 12th of October, 2021.
Right across Australia, this is Sunrise on 7. Now live from Brekkie Central, Kochie and Nat.
Hello and welcome to Sunrise. Also coming up this Tuesday, the bank of mum and dad. What parents need to know before giving their kids a leg up on the property ladder. It's a special report.
And Lego gets a massive makeover. The big changes coming to one of the world's most loved toys.
To new developments in Sydney's recovery, and the next vaccine milestone is on the horizon this morning. 80% fully vaxxed. It will trigger an easing of more restrictions after millions enjoyed their first day out of lockdown. Friends, families and couples were reunited across the city for the first time in months. After so long, finally that sweet taste of freedom. Restaurants, the toast of the town, as Sydney celebrated the end of 106 days locked up.
We're also glad that everyone's getting back to the hospitality.
From the city to the suburbs, the queues enormous. People needed retail therapy. The doors rolled up, the covers came off.
It's the best feeling to be shopping in and being out of the house. It's amazing.
But it was Sydney's salons most in demand.
Oh man, it's the best thing ever, eh? Like, it was just getting out of control.
Tens of thousands of retail staff back at work checking vaccine certificates.
Yeah, all good, thank you. And sanitize.
But perhaps the most special freedom moments at our nursing homes.
Long time no see, eh?
Yeah, well.
Nearly 4 months.
4 months apart after 68 years married. Jen and Peter Blacklock united again, the sweetest of reunions on a day like no other.
It felt wrong that you were together for so long and then suddenly you can't be.
Oh, so many sad stories. Live now to 7 News reporter Serena Angeloro in Parramatta. Restaurants came back to life last night, Serena, as Sydney slowly returns to normal.
Yeah, Nat, although it was a much quieter night than usual, people cautiously easing into freedom. The crowds were nowhere near what they would have been on a pre-lockdown Saturday night. Still, from the city to the western suburbs, people were just happy to be out, happy to be reunited with their family and friends after so long, 3 months kept apart. Take a look.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. It's a really good vibe.
It's been a hectic day. To start the business back up again after 100 days of being closed is a mean feat.
And now our attention turns to the next vaccination milestone, the 80% double dose vaccination milestone, when more freedoms will be afforded to us on October 25th. We'll be able to travel anywhere within New South Wales, have more people inside our homes. Nightclubs will reopen. We'll be able to do away with those masks inside workplaces. The state government today has announced a relief package for small businesses. They'll be able to recoup the cost of road tolls up to $2,000. That's small businesses and tradies, and it's a major expense. Grants will also be offered up to $20,000 for small businesses who won't be able to open over the summer because of the lockdown. The Premier stressing we need to get moving. The lockdown cost us more than $1 billion a week.
Let's bring in Sunrise reporter Nathan Curry in Melbourne. Nathan, Victoria's vaccine rollout is being revamped and it could help fast-track new freedoms.
Could not. It's very exciting. There is suggestions now that we could hit the 70% target that would end lockdown here on October 21, which is almost a week earlier than first thought. And in turn, it would bring forward the 80% target date as well. And that's when we'll get the sort of freedoms that Sydney is seeing right now. What's going to happen is that from this morning, Pfizer and Moderna are available to everyone 12 and up at all state-run hubs. In fact, at some of them, you won't even need an appointment. You'll be able to turn up and get the vaccine of your choice. Up until now, people over the age of 60 have been told to get AstraZeneca, but it's hoped now that people that are still a bit hesitant and holding out will finally come forward and get a jab and help us get out of this sooner, Nat.
OK, go Victoria. Thank you, Nathan.
Let's get more news now with Eddie.
Thanks, Koshi. Morning. We start with breaking news this morning. A light plane has crashed in San Diego, California. Here's a live look at the crash site right now. You can see it's right in the middle of a suburban area, damaging several homes there, narrowly missing a high school as well. There are no confirmed fatalities, but there are reports of several burns victims. We'll bring you a live report on that crash very soon. Queensland has given its strongest hint yet on when the state will reopen its borders to the rest of Australia. The Health Minister says it's critical for unvaccinated Queenslanders to get the jab as soon as possible.
The target is getting yourself protected in the next 5 to 6 weeks. That is your mission. Get yourself protected, and that helps protect our whole community and allows us to open up.
Queensland is yet to commit to opening its borders once vaccination coverage reaches 80%. A pill to treat COVID-19 could be available by the end of the year, with pharmaceutical giant Merck applying for authorisation in the US. Let's go live now to 7 News US correspondent Tim Lester. Tim, once again, science leading the way here. This antiviral pill could be a real game changer, couldn't it?
Yes, Eddie, it's been almost a year since the vaccines went to America's Food and Drug Administration for approval. Now a pill that might treat those that already have the virus. Enter Molnupiravir, a brown tablet developed by Merck. The trial globally on more than 700 patients so successful that the drug company pulled the trial and has sent the data off to America's Food and Drug Administration seeking emergency approval for the drug for use in those who are susceptible to particularly severe cases of COVID-19 and are already infected. Australia among countries to get in an early order for 300,000 doses. Merck says, provided it gets the emergency approval, it plans to produce 10 million doses before the end of this year. Eddie?
A huge breakthrough. Thank you, Tim. A Victorian government minister has lost his job in cabinet following fresh allegations of branch stacking. Labor MP Luke Donnellan has resigned, moving to the backbench after being accused of paying party membership fees on behalf of others at an anti-corruption inquiry. Donnellan admits he broke the rules as a minister, but says he never misused public funds. Federal Labor member Anthony Byrne also admitted to being aware of rigged party ballots during that same inquiry. The Prime Minister is leading calls for unity among the coalition to combat climate change and commit to net zero emissions. Let's go live now to political reporter Taylor Aitken in Canberra. Taylor, of course, this will require support from the Nationals.
It sure will, Eddie, and the Nationals have made it very clear they aren't willing to put regional jobs in Australia at risk. The issue of net zero emissions by 2050 is set to be a hot topic at party room meetings next week as the government looks to strike a deal with the Nationals that ensures regional communities and jobs aren't left behind. Scott Morrison is under increasing pressure to strike a deal for net zero emissions ahead of a climate conference in Glasgow next month, but he hasn't even committed to attending the conference during a surprised reaction from Prince Charles.
Scott Morrison, the Australian PM, isn't even certain that he could make it to the meeting in Glasgow?
Is that what he said, is he?
He did say, yeah.
Prince Charles taken aback slightly there. Scott Morrison knows he needs to have a deal struck ahead of this conference if he wants to go there with an energy policy in place. Eddie?
That's a great reaction there from Prince Charles. Thank you so much, Taylor. Australia's east coast is in for a soaking this week with a month's worth of rain predicted in the space of just a few days. Sydney and Melbourne can expect a soggy week with northeastern New South Wales to be hit the hardest. Byron, Ballina, Tweed and Lismore could see around 100 millimetres of rain. Toy giant Lego has pledged to remove gender bias from its products after a global study found children were being held back by gender stereotypes. 7 News correspondent Sarah Greenhalgh is following this story for us. And Sarah, Lego plans to make its toys more inclusive.
Eddie, good morning. The Danish toy maker commissioned this global report surveying 7,000 parents and kids from 7 different countries, with 71% of boys responding saying that they feared being made fun of if they played with a toy considered to be a girl's. This report also found that parents encouraged their sons to take up sport, science or technology, while girls were encouraged to dance, dress up and bake. So as a result of these results, Lego has now decided to remove gender bias and stereotypes from its products to try and ensure that attitudes are more equal. So far, Lego has removed either the tag for girls or for boys on its products. On its website, you can no longer search by gender, but rather by passions and by interests. But it's unclear exactly what else the toy maker will do to change things going forward. Social media has, of course, reacted with some of the opinion that, quote, the world has gone mad. Other people believe that these unequal attitudes should have been recognised and acted on a long time ago. Eddie?
All right, thank you very much for that, Sarah. Speaking of being inclusive, I should say Lego as well for our South Australian viewers. Don't they say
yes,
Lego?
yeah, very good, yes.
So
Exactly.
Lego or Lego.
Oh, right.
Queen's
English.
Barrett says all your sport.
Cricket Australia expects the Ashes to go ahead with crowds in full. After months of negotiations, England have all but confirmed they will tour Australia this summer. But Cricket Australia says state border blocks won't cause a reshuffle of venues, with Perth's test to remain after Melbourne and Sydney's. The first test at the Gabba starts on December the 8th. Can't wait. Getting the wicket of Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers or Glenn Maxwell would be a career highlight for most bowlers. West Indies' Sunil Narine took all three within 3 overs in Kolkata's IPL elimination playoff against Bangalore. He then followed up his forfer with a quick-fire 26 runs as Kolkata beat Bangalore by 4 wickets and moved within a win of the final. The Redcliffe Dolphins bid team have denied reports they're set to be named the NRL's 17th team this week. The ARL Commission meets on Thursday, where it's expected to announce who will get the licence, with the Dolphins the heavy front-runners. The Provan Summons Trophy is now residing safely in the trophy cabinet at the Panthers Leagues Club after some quick repairs following the club's grand final celebrations. And Penrith star Nathan Cleary will have shoulder surgery tomorrow, which could sideline him until the early rounds of next season. There you go.
All right, Brett, thank you.
Let's get a weather check. James Tobin is at a vaccination centre in Western Sydney.
That's right, at Sydney Olympic Park, Kudos Bank Arena, the largest one in Western Sydney, and the irony escapes nobody. If you want to know when the new shows are of the talented one, not the pandemic one, 9th of April here at Kudos Bank Arena. Let's go to your weather.
Sunrise weather, brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
Brizzy rain at times today, 21 degrees, showers and 19 in Sydney, Canberra partly cloudy and 15 in Melbourne, 21 degrees and cloud cover today. Cloudy in Hobart as well, 17, fine and 23 for Adelaide, Perth cloudy and 18 and Darwin mostly sunny and 34. The doors have just opened. If you haven't been vaccinated yet, jump online, newsouthwales.gov.au. You can go through the eligibility checker and book your appointment today. There are slots available.
Yep, let's get to 80. Thanks, JT. Vaccinated Sydney-siders have embraced their new freedoms on their first day out of lockdown with long queues outside shopping centres, hairdressers and pubs. The New South Wales Premier toasted Freedom Day over a freshly poured beer while admitting the current proof of vaccination system wasn't perfect. Vaccination certificates have yet to be added to the state services app, with the update not expected until next week. Live now to our Premier Perrottet, who's about to hold a news conference. He's expected to announce Changes to small businesses and how they will now benefit. He's with the Treasurer, Matt Kean, and they will speak. We'll go to that news conference now.
Well, good morning. It's great to be here with Treasurer Matt Kean as we make our second announcement as part of our economic recovery support plan for businesses right across the state. We know that it's been a very difficult time for businesses. It was a great day yesterday, and to see the excitement and happiness right around New South Wales as all the sacrifices that everyone has made really came to benefit businesses right across New South Wales. To see our workers back in the job, to see businesses opening up. It was a great day for the people of New South Wales, and I particularly want to thank, we've spoken here a lot about, over the last few days particularly, about the tolerance, respect and kindness that we wanted people to show over the course of this difficult period, and that was in full display from the people of our state yesterday. Today's announcement is all about confidence. Last year, as we came through the pandemic, business confidence was key, it was crucial to driving economic growth, to ensuring that businesses continued to employ and bring people on, and that's why we recovered every single job that was lost, and that's why we'll recover every single job again. Today's announcement has two components to it. Our small business support package for those small businesses who do not qualify for payroll tax, that is with a payroll of less than 1.2 million. Those small businesses will be able to now claim up to $2,000 for a range of services and charge costs, licensing fees, council rates and the like. We're expanding that to now include tolls. We know that that's going to really support tradies right across Greater Sydney who will also be able to access this rebate. It kicks in, it's an expansion, of the current program from March this year into June before the budget, leading into the budget next year. The other announcement we're making today is in relation to a stock guarantee, and this came through a significant consultation period with business owners, with banks and their business clients, and we learnt from Victoria last year that one of the key issues was providing confidence as we head into the summer months, Christmas trade, that businesses go out there and invest in their businesses, buy stock to get going. And we know that there has been concern in relation to lockdowns. I've made it very, very clear that is a last resort, not a first resort. But this will give confidence to businesses to purchase stock, a rebate of up to $20,000 for perishable goods, $10,000 for non-perishable goods. This will give businesses the confidence to buy up big, to get ready for a major summer trade. As the JobSaver program finishes in November, we want to continue to give businesses the confidence to invest. We want businesses to look forward to what is going to be a bright summer here in New South Wales. There's a lot of built-up demand, as we saw yesterday, as people went out and spent and supported their local neighbour businesses. That's what this is all about, giving confidence to businesses so that they succeed over the summer months. It's going to be boom time in New South Wales for every single business and every single worker across our state.
There you go, the New South Wales Premier announcing some real help for small businesses there. Joining me now is the New South Wales Customer Services Minister, Victor Dominello. Morning to you. Tell us about this Vax Pass feature. It wasn't ready to go this week in time for the reopening. Why was that?
Well, you can't build a house without bricks, and we only got the bricks in late September. So to turn something around like this takes normally many, many months, but we're actually going to turn it around by 18 October. So we've got until Monday.
Yeah, look, I know it's hard and there's a lot going on, but Victoria has already rolled this feature out, haven't they? They're not even out of lockdown.
No, they're actually doing a pilot. They're doing a pilot in Victorian regions as well. And they won't be going to full state rollout until about the end of October. Everybody can access it, but they can't use it, so they're still in the pilot phase.
Right, so talk us through how it went yesterday. I know myself, I was going into a few shops and everyone was asking. What was your feedback with it?
Oh, look, the feedback is, so far so good. We know that people are going through challenges at the moment, but You know, when I was looking at the TV reports last night, all I could see were happy faces. So, look, I know there were challenges to get in there. You know, some people had to find where their vaccine certificates were, but at the end of the day, they were in the shops, they were having a good time, and they were reaping the rewards of, 100 days hard yards.
Yeah, and the shop owners very happy that we were all out there spending a bit of money.
Very, very happy.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Here's Koshi.
Now, it may be early days, but fears have begun to surface over fully vaxxed New South Wales residents inundating businesses and raising the risk of a super spreader event. Premier Dominic Perrottet and health experts warn that while we learn to share spaces again, cases could rise. It comes after New South Wales recorded 496 new cases, 8 deaths. So with 74% of the state double dosed, just how real are these concerns? Joining me now, infectious diseases expert Professor Robert Boy. Robert, day 2. How conscious must we be of overcrowding as we rush back to businesses?
It's a real concern. There are going to be multi-spreader events, there's no doubt about that, but mostly in the unvaccinated. And because 25% of people have only had a dose and 10 or 15, depending on where you're in the state, haven't had 2 doses, there's going to be spreader events, and we're going to see it happening more and more.
So unvaccinated are most at risk?
Oh, definitely. They're the ones who'll get more severe disease. They're the ones who'll get a bigger viral load in their throat. They're the ones who'll cough and speak and sing out that virus to their fellow unvaccinated people especially. But to some vaccinated, they can get a mild breakthrough infection. So watch out for that too. This isn't a chance to dance and jump around in the street. This is a chance to go on being sensible, but have more privileges and get your shopping done and get your hair cut and all those things.
Yep, great advice. Robert, your specialty is in paediatrics, so I want to specifically ask you about Pfizer asking US regulators to approve its vaccine for use in children under 12. How long could that take, and should there be more urgency here to get kids under 12 vaccinated?
Oh, not at all. Kids under 12 hardly get a cold from COVID. So honestly, what we need to do is to get excellent safety data on at least 1 million US children before we offer it to Australian children. We're in no rush. Our kids are not getting very sick in the main. Only the kids between 12 and 15 especially who have a chronic medical problem need vaccination now, and the others will benefit from it, get them back to school. But under 12s, there's no rush at all. If it happens in the new year, that's just fine.
Okay, so your advice to parents, don't panic about it. You're the paediatric infectious diseases expert. You're saying, hey, not much risk at all.
That's absolutely right, and so do all the other paediatric infectious disease doctors around the country.
Excellent, really comforting. Thank you, Robert. Here's that.
Thanks, Koshi. Still on kids, this morning the government will launch a national mental health and wellbeing strategy for children. It's a world-first initiative focused on children up to 12 years old and makes a plan for supporting kids. 7 of the 10 most common reasons to visit a paediatrician are for mental health. But 65% of parents in Australia aren't confident they could identify the signs, and 66% don't know where to go for help. Christine Morgan is the CEO of the National Mental Health Commission. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Nat.
When a lot of us grew up, mental health problems in kids weren't a thing. Why is this such a big problem nowadays?
Look, I think what has probably changed, Nat, is that we're more conscious of it now than we have been before. It's interesting. This is the first children's mental health and wellbeing strategy internationally. There is no other. And I think that's because we have tended to look at mental illness being diagnosed from teenage years upwards. But in fact, we know, as you've just said, that over 50% of mental illness in adults starts when you're under 14. So for the first time, really, we're really focusing in on our children.
So do we know why it starts?
Look, I think it's when it comes to mental illness, that's as big a question as we could possibly have time to talk through, Nat. So I think what we really need to look at is to move away from a medical diagnosis with our little ones. In the strategy, we talk about whether how a child is functioning. Are they well? Are they coping? Are they struggling or are they unwell? And if we can look for those signs in our little people and intervene to provide help and support through their families, education settings and like, then we can concentrate on keeping them well. That's really what we want to do.
And how do you help family members and parents? Because that figure, 65% of parents in Australia don't know the signs, don't know what they would be even looking for.
And that's one of the most important things we can start to do, is to actually say, and we call it mental health literacy, but it's really saying, okay, as parents, what are the signs you could or should be looking out for? And this is why we've moved away from a medical diagnosis. And we want parents to look at how their child is functioning, how they're interacting with their friends, and to remember that something as simple as a tummy ache can actually be an indicator of anxiety in a little person. So it's really engaging with our young people to say, are they okay?
Yep, Christine, boy, do we need this. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Nat. Thank you.
Here's Koshi.
Now the East Coast is in for a drenching with more than a month's worth of rain set to hit in the space of just a couple of days. 7 News meteorologist Tony Auden is at the Weather Centre. Tony, which areas will see the worst conditions today?
Good morning, Koshi. Well, it was a great night if you like the sound of raindrops on the roof. We've had beautiful, steady, soaking rain right across southeast Queensland here. It's lasted right through the night and just cleared away in the last hour or so, but there is more on the way. We've seen so far widespread falls over 25 millimetres, a couple of spots pushing over 50, but we are expecting more showers and storms to develop right across southern Queensland, including the southeast and extending down northern parts of New South Wales today. We'll see a few severe cells in there, so we will need to keep an eye out for warnings over the next few hours.
More storms due later this week?
Yes, that's right. Even more active systems set to move in from tomorrow. Starting Victoria, cold front likely to bring probably some more severe storms around Melbourne and through central parts of Victoria late tomorrow night. Then that system pushes across the east coast with widespread showers and storms through New South Wales and Queensland. And as we check the thunderstorm potential, the brighter colours here show where we have the most energy to create those severe storms. Here on Thursday, a widespread area through New South Wales and up into Queensland. On top of the potential for severe storms, also some very welcome rain. Here are the latest totals from one of the forecast models. Brisbane pushing up around 60, 70 millimetres, a bit lighter for Sydney and Canberra, but Melbourne could also get up around 60, 66 millimetres on the numbers here. So some very welcome rain, but we will need to keep an eye out for those severe cells.
Yeah, because Tony, this is the start of the severe weather season, isn't it? What can we expect over the next couple of months?
Well, every year is pretty active over those spring and summer months. This year we have a couple of influences, a 50% chance of La Nina developing in the Pacific Ocean and a weakening negative Indian Ocean dipole out in the Indian Ocean. So basically both oceans trying to make wet conditions over the next few months. Here is the rain outlook, plenty of blue, especially over eastern states, so that confirms the wet outlook. In terms of specifics, well, flooding is increased chance through the tropics. I think the east coast, New South Wales, Queensland will be an increased threat. We're also expecting a near or above average cyclone season. Now, we normally see 11 cyclones out to sea, with a few crossing the coast each year, and of course one cyclone, as we've seen on Sunrise over the years, can cause a lot of damage. A normal bushfire potential if the rains start. We will start to see that vegetation getting a bit greener again. A normal risk of heat waves. Again, temperatures should be a little bit lower in the east if the cloud thickens up, but we can still get those bursts of heat and that normal risk of severe storms. Of course, at the moment we are moving into the peak of severe storm season. Koshi?
That's a really good summary. Thank you for that, Tony.
No worries, Koshi.
See you soon. Here's Nat.
A busy half hour is coming your way. Just ahead on Sunrise. Back to work. COVID concerns. Your rights returning to the office. What your boss can and can't make you do.
Plus IKEA. We love their flat pack furniture, but we've been saying it wrong. The right way is coming up.
Oh, and your blockbuster movie guide. The biggest films coming soon to the cinema. This is Sunrise on 7. We'll be back in just a moment. Back now at 7:30, it's news time. Here's Eddie.
Thank you very much, Nat. In breaking news, the New South Wales Premier has unveiled a new plan to support the return of business out of lockdown. Speaking just earlier, the Premier revealed an expanded scheme for small business rebates on state government fees and charges, including road tolls. A stock guarantee has also been unveiled, with some businesses able to apply for $20,000 to account for perishable and unperishable stock. The plan is part of a new COVID economic support package to give businesses a much-needed boost.
That's what this is all about, giving confidence to businesses so that they succeed over the summer months. It's going to be boom time in New South Wales for every single business and every single worker.
Millions in New South Wales have enjoyed their first full day out of lockdown, with the next major vaccination milestone now on the horizon. The state is charging to 80% fully vaxxed, triggering even more freedoms, including eased travel and mask restrictions. Restaurants welcomed back customers with open arms overnight, with families and friends returning to dining across Sydney. There's been a major change to help speed up Victoria's vaccine rollout. Pfizer and Moderna jabs will now be given to anybody over the age of 12. It means over 60s will be eligible for those vaccines too. They were previously only able to book AstraZeneca. The new changes follow the success of the rollout on school-age students. Queensland has given its strongest hint yet on when the state will reopen its borders to the rest of Australia. The Health Minister says it's critical for unvaccinated Queenslanders to get the jab as soon as possible.
The target is getting yourself protected in the next 5 to 6 weeks. That is your mission. Get yourself protected, and that helps protect our whole community and allows us to open up.
Queensland is yet to commit to opening its borders once vaccination coverage reaches 80%. The makers of an antiviral pill used to treat COVID-19 have applied for emergency use authorisation from the US regulator. American pharmaceutical giant Merck has submitted the application for Molnupiravir. Early trials of the drug have shown it can reduce hospitalisation and death by 50%. The Australian government has already bought 300,000 courses of the pill. We have some breaking news now, and a light plane has crashed in San Diego in California. Here's a live look at the crash site right now. You can see the flames have now been extinguished. It's come down in a residential area, damaging several homes and narrowly missing a school too. There are no confirmed fatalities yet, but there are reports of several burns victims. A Victorian government minister has lost his job in Cabinet following fresh allegations of branch stacking. Labor MP Luke Donnellan has resigned, moving to the backbench after being accused of paying party membership fees on behalf of others at an anti-corruption inquiry. Donnellan admits he broke the rules as a minister, but says he never misused public funds. Federal Labor member Anthony Byrne also admitted to being aware of rigged party ballots during that inquiry. Australia's east coast is in for a soaking this week, with a month's worth of rain predicted in the space of a few days. Sydney and Melbourne can expect a soggy week, with northeastern New South Wales to be hit the hardest. Byron, Ballina, Tweed and Lismore could see around 100 millimetres of rain. Prince Charles has revealed the secret recipe he uses to power his beloved Aston Martin. The Prince's favourite car has been converted to run on wine and cheese. The Aston Martin uses a fuel called E85, made from surplus English white wine and whey from the cheese-making process. Charles has been driving the car for more than 50 years. It was actually a gift from the Queen for his 21st birthday. What's in a name? Well, a lot when it comes to that big Swedish furniture store. Yes, I'm talking about IKEA. Social media is going nuts because apparently we've been saying it wrong all this time. Now, here's how you meant to pronounce it.
This is how you pronounce IKEA in Swedish. IKEA.
IKEA. Now,
IKEA.
Swedish is a pretty difficult language. So it's really up to you if you decide to stick with IKEA.
Gee.
I don't think it's going to catch on.
IKEA.
No, I'm as you know, I'm a real stickler for pronunciations and do it so well.
You and George Denokian.
That's a flashback. No, because he's had a go at me in the past. He's a bit of a grumpy bloke. Did you bring that up deliberately? You did.
He was always very, there's a stickler for his pronunciation.
Right, let's stick with that.
Yeah. IKEA it is, Brett as a sport.
Sunrise Sport, brought to you by Optus 5G. Get the latest 5G phone at the best price guaranteed.
It's on this summer. Cricket Australia is confident crowds will be back for the Ashes and the series will go ahead as planned. After months of negotiations, England have all but confirmed will tour Australia this summer. But Cricket Australia says state border blocks won't cause a reshuffle of venues, with Perth's test to remain after Melbourne and Sydney's. The first test at the Gabba starts on December the 8th, and you'll see it right here on 7. The NBL has pushed back the start of its new season by a few weeks, but it's good news for basketball fans. The new season will begin on December the 3rd with Tasmania's new team to play the Adelaide 36ers in the opener in Hobart. But the NBL expect fans will be allowed back into the stadiums to cheer on their teams, potentially at full capacity. There's a big shake-up coming for the Commonwealth Games, which could see sports like T20 cricket and 3-on-3 basketball become mainstays. A proposed roadmap would give hosts the ability to tailor their sport programs and propose new ones with only swimming and athletics to be compulsory. The changes could be in place for the 2026 or 2030 Games. Next year's Games in Birmingham begin on July the 28th. So there we go. A boost for racing fans with the crowd for Saturday's $15 million Everest race doubled to 10,000 people at Randwick. One person who wouldn't look out of place in the race, flowing mane included, is sprinter Rowan Browning. The Olympian proving manpower can overcome horsepower, beating Everest runner Lost and Running, ridden by champion jockey Hugh Bowman in a handicap sprint on the Randwick Straight. Saturday's Everest race is live right here on 7. Rowan did a good job with that, didn't he? Boy, he didn't hold back. Looked fantastic too. That mullet is just flying at the moment, isn't it?
And it's staying. He said his mum and his girlfriend, not so much, but he loves it. So
it might be where he gets his strength and his speed, a bit like Samson. If you cut the mullet, you might lose a couple of k's an hour.
Exactly. It won't be him anymore.
No.
Let's get a weather check. JT is in Western Sydney today, where the push is on to get even more people vaxxed.
Yes, that's right. And this is exactly what the observation area looks like. So these people have been vaxxed this morning. Morning, everyone. And these are some of the Kudos Bank Arena staff doing such a great job here. But you know who else does such a great job here? If you think about who's great at guiding people around, answering questions, making sure everyone's okay and doing it with a big smile on their face, it's the team at Qantas. And Marty Dawson is customer service people over there.
Yep.
And you have led a team who have come here and started helping with the vaccinations.
Yeah, we have. So initially I came on as the training lead and we brought on a group of, there was 5 instructors to work with the nurse educators. And we've trained up 180 Qantas staff to come through, plus the Kudos staff. Total of about just under 3,000 staff trained, including the vax workers and the nurses.
Qantas staff have filled so many gaps that we've found open up over this time. I know early on there were Qantas pilots who were driving buses.
Yeah.
Just on the weekend I was at Bronte Beach talking to some of the great people who are looking after people on the beach, Qantas staff who are volunteering their time. So many great jobs.
Yeah, we do. Our skills translate really well. So in here, in this centre, it's a case of we aligned it to more an airport flow. So for us to assist as crew, I should say, with passengers checking in into their seats, ensuring that high level of service translated to here, to bringing them through into their seats, relaxing them, getting them calm before that injection, and then they come down here to the arena floor, which is the observation area, and on their way out as they go.
So if people are watching and they haven't been vaccinated yet, but they have been to an airport, it's going to be a similar experience than if you go and check in with Qantas.
Yeah, very similar.
Fantastic.
Very similar. And we try to keep it that way, it's what people know and it'll relax them a little bit more.
The friendly skies, the friendly vac centre.
That's what we try to do.
Let's have a look at your weather forecast.
Sunrise weather, brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
A trough stretching over the Northern Territory into Queensland and northern New South Wales, triggering rain and storms. That's heaviest over western Queensland and northeast New South Wales. A trough in front over southwest WA causing rain and gusty showers, and mostly settled elsewhere due to a broad high pressure system. In Brizzy, raining at times today and 21 degrees, showers and 19 for Sydney. Canberra, partly cloudy and 15. Partly cloudy and 21 in Melbourne. Hobart, partly cloudy and 17. Mostly fine and 23 for Adelaide. Perth, cloudy and 18 degrees. And Darwin, mostly sunny and 34. And in other news, Marty did his old job for the first time yesterday in how long?
3 months. So that was
doing
nice.
some work for Qantas.
Yeah, back training crew, getting them ready to get back to the skies. That's where we want to be. It's in our blood flying. So we're really looking forward to opening up, certainly within New South Wales, and opening up international.
Gee, that's positive, isn't it? After Freedom Day yesterday and us experiencing some more freedoms here in Sydney, to hear Qantas are back training and getting ready to go back up into the skies is great news.
It's fantastic news. I think a lot of people are looking forward to it. We're very lucky. We're positioned really well to be able to do that, and we're looking forward to welcoming everyone on board soon.
Marty, music to my ears. Fantastic. Thank you, and thank you to all of the staff who have been doing such a great job here at Kudos Bank Arena. Back to you guys.
Yeah, bring on the peanuts. OK, how would you like to win some cash?
The Sunrise Cash Cow.
It is time to call our lucky cash cow winner. 10 grand up for grabs. Answer within 3 rings.
Calling Enfield, South Australia, northern suburbs. Part of the city of Port Adelaide, Enfield.
Oh,
Tell us more. Good morning.
No.
Oh.
Like, no.
Oh, because that's God's own country.
You've done a lot of work.
Well, a big hello to the Mayor, Claire Bone, who's wonderful, and the council there are just fabulous. One of the best councils in Australia.
Are they?
You really do know people.
Yeah.
Shocked. Have you got a council grant for the Port Adelaide car park or something that we should know about?
We've got a development application. But even if we didn't, it's a great council.
People go to jail for that. Well.
To be in tomorrow's draw, you need the code word patch.
Now, SMS the daily code word and your full name and address to 19777077. Entries close at 4:30pm Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
Well, New South Wales is getting back to business with thousands of people now back in the office. But what happens if you want to keep working from home? And where does the boss stand on making you get vaccinated? Coming up, what's allowed and what's not.
Plus, the houses bankrolled by mum and dad. Advice for parents giving their kids a leg up on the property ladder. But first, here's Eddie with entertainment.
Nat and Koshi, look at all these films. With more cinemas opening up, audiences are heading back to experience the big screen. And after long delays, the biggest Hollywood blockbusters are here. From James Bond to Spider-Man, remakes to sequels. This is your ultimate guide to the box office between now and Christmas.
We've loved these people since the day we arrived. When you love something, you protect it.
It's the 26th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and takes the superhero franchise in an exciting new direction. Eternals is set after the events of Avengers Endgame as an immortal alien race appears to save humanity from a new threat.
You can't protect any of them.
The wait is almost over. Daniel Craig's final assignment as 007 hit cinemas after an almost 2-year delay.
James Bond. License to kill.
No Time to Die sees James Bond face off against a new villain, Safin, played by Oscar winner Rami Malek.
You ever flown like this? No.
Tom Hardy is back as Eddie Brock in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Directed by Andy Serkis, it's a sequel to the box office hit about a journalist infected with an alien entity, gifting him with superhuman abilities.
You live in my body. You live by my rules.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please let me fix it so I can push it again. You are a loser.
This time, Venom faces off against a psychotic serial killer played by Woody Harrelson.
I'm not a crazy man. I'm a vengeful one.
June is upon us, one of the most anticipated blockbusters in years. Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya and Jason Momoa led an all-star cast in the sci-fi epic based on the legendary novel by Frank Herbert.
They're picking my family off one by one. Only together can we stand a chance.
Let's fight like demons.
June is tipped to be a major Oscar contender with rave reviews from critics.
For the fear is gone. Only I will remain.
Tom Holland returns as Peter Parker in Spider-Man No Way Home. The big-budget sequel opens up Marvel's multiverse with rumours Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will appear as Spideys from other dimensions to help battle a villain from the past.
Be careful what you wish for, Parker.
Hello, Peter.
Lady Gaga stars in House of Gucci, a highly anticipated drama from director Ridley Scott. The star-studded film depicts the murder of Maurizio Gucci, Italian businessman and head of the world-renowned fashion house.
I don't consider myself to be a particularly ethical person, but I am fair.
And Steven Spielberg is back with a remake of West Side Story. It's the timeless story of Tony and Maria, love-struck teens in 1950s New York, whose love is threatened by rival street gangs, the Jets and Sharks.
Life matters even more than love.
Can you smell that, Koshin Nat?
Yes.
It's a smell of popcorn and melting choc top.
Oh.
Can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the most exciting things, isn't it?
No, it's going to be fantastic. West Side Story looks great too.
Thanks, Eddie. Fully vaccinated Sydney workers have started heading back into the office, but some remain hesitant to return.
Yeah, it's going to get more complicated for workplaces come December when unvaccinated colleagues are put back into the mix, and it's creating grey areas for bosses and workers' rights. Office reunions are taking place right across Sydney as workplaces reopen their doors.
There's a girl in our team that said she's going to cry when she literally sees everyone else. To sort of welcome everyone back in, we have booked the pub next door to the office.
And we know the drill. QR codes and sanitising stations are in. Hot desking is out. Masks will be gone once the state hits 80%. And while it's all smiles under these ones, not everyone is happy to be rushing back into the office so soon.
Workers are anxious to get back to work, but they're also concerned about the fact that we know that as public health restrictions ease, risks around COVID are likely to increase. And that means that we must ensure that workplaces are safe.
For now, employees in New South Wales can keep working from home if it's practicable. From December 1, though, it'll be up to the bosses to decide, and unvaccinated staff members will also be able to return to workplaces.
It's going to be so problematic, in my view, and I'm not sure that the government's thought this scenario through very well.
Workplace specialist Sian Gilbert is preparing to return to the office herself and says flexibility is going to be the key this time around now that there's the added issue of vaccinations.
My firm, where I work, since that time has brought in a flexibility without question policy.
Whether or not to make COVID jabs mandatory is one of the biggest dilemmas facing workplaces, including whether bosses even have the power to make that call.
Public health officials are the best ones to make that decision. We've trusted them throughout this pandemic, and nothing should change when it comes to vaccinations.
In my view, employers can mandate vaccinations if it's both reasonably necessary and lawful to do so.
In Melbourne, only vaccinated workers will be allowed back when Victoria hits 80%. There's no word on when their unvaccinated colleagues can join them. And all authorised workers have already been ordered to get a jab. There's no such directive in New South Wales, leaving it up to businesses to decide for themselves.
We never want to assume someone's religious or medical beliefs. The vaccine's their personal choice. We want to see absolutely everyone come back to Sparrow too, and the government says that at 90% everyone is welcome back.
And that's one part of the reopening strategy that won't sit well with fully vaccinated employees.
Who are anxious and fearful of travelling on public transport and working in an environment next to unvaccinated people. They may very well refuse to attend their workplace, and I think it's going to be very difficult for employers to grapple with what lawful and reasonable direction can be given.
Sydney and Melbourne are crying out for office workers to return to their CBDs. At the moment, during lockdown, occupancy is only around 4 to 6%. And that's why many are suggesting that incentives be offered to entice workers back to the city.
The local cafe is not as busy as it once was. And all the restaurants, some have shut down, unfortunately, during the last lockdown. People should get back into the CBD and get back to what they were doing before and supporting these businesses.
But as our two biggest cities juggle very different roadmaps out of lockdown, safety is going to have to come first.
If people want to stay home and they feel safer staying home, we're going to continue to allow that as well.
Will the majority rule?
Yeah.
The 90%. Now, the Bank of Mum and Dad has helped many Aussies crack the property market, but as prices keep surging across the country, parents are starting to feel the heat.
Yeah, new research shows 2/3 of Aussie parents are under significant financial stress. Sunrise consumer correspondent Sean White has the story. Sean?
Nat, Koshi, good morning. Look, to make things even more complicated, new borrowing changes are coming into play. So this morning we've got tips on how parents can pitch in without... And it could be about to get even higher. Lending changes mean potential home buyers now face not being able to borrow as much. It's a move designed to ensure homeowners can still repay their debts when interest rates eventually rise.
It means that people that are kind of at the edge of their borrowing power, that's ultimately where the impact hits.
It's important parents know how to pitch in without breaking the bank themselves. So where is the best place to start? Firstly, understand the risks with going guarantor on your child's home loan. While this can provide excellent rates for young borrowers, if your child can't make their monthly repayments, you can be liable instead.
If you're becoming a guarantor, you want to understand how that's going to affect you in the future. As an example, if you're looking to sell your property, is becoming a guarantor going to stop you from being able to put your property on the market? You want to understand how long this loan's going to be for, and if you're looking to retire, what does that mean for you in the future? And is that going to be a barrier to get to that point of your life?
Gifting money could be a better option because there are often no strings attached.
Parents will often gift their kids a deposit or part of the deposit. Now, not everyone's in that situation, but it's certainly an option if you wish to avail it.
But like anything, do your research first before jumping in.
While gifting money might not have tax implications, gifting an asset like a home can have tax implications.
Of course, giving money or assets isn't realistic for everyone, so another alternative is getting your child to apply for financial help through government programs.
The First Home Loan Deposit Scheme means you don't need to pay that lender's mortgage insurance, and can be another way that certainly not parents helping their kids get into homes, but a way to sort of avoid the bank of mum and dad, so to speak.
Yeah, not sure what the bank of mum and dad on the couch is like. How generous will you guys be?
Yeah, how generous.
No. Can you do a story on what children need to do to sort of work with their parents for the loan as well? Because we've got to do it together.
That's right, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to go into that agreement, you want to get along.
With respect.
And you don't want to send your parents broke.
Yeah.
A really big trap for a lot of parents is when you go to the bank, they say, you'll guarantor for your kid's loan, and they try and get you to do an unlimited guarantee. So for everything, you can stipulate, no, I'll guarantee 100 grand or 300 grand or 400, and that's
So what
that's
do you
enough.
tell your kids that are living rent-free with you, Koshi, about the bank of mum and dad?
I help them out.
Okay.
I don't lend. I haven't contributed to any of their houses whatsoever.
Yeah, contributing a lump sum's a bit different.
Yeah. Going guarantor, I think's useful because it can make a big difference. But remember, financing costs of home loans today as a proportion of total income is the same as it was 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, but the cost of living has gone up.
No, cost of lifestyle for today's generation.
Well,
has gone
in bigger
up.
cities, we've had this argument before. We're going to have it again.
You don't need to go to a restaurant.
But
You can have a trivia night at home with your friends rather than go out to dinner or the pub.
Yeah.
Or have a fondue. Bring back the old fondue.
What happened to the fondue?
Fondue and trivia
Actually,
night.
Koshy's selling his old set on eBay for a very good price. Sean will have the segment tomorrow.
Still to come. Thank you, Sean. Sorry for that. It was a good tip. Ramping up the rollout. Victoria racing towards 70% earlier than expected. What it means for the end of lockdown.
Plus, Sony scandal. The shock claims about one of the music industry's most powerful men.
And she doesn't shy away from a challenge. Jana Pittman, the superstar from SAS Australia, and her surprise baby news. Can't wait to catch up with her. She'll be with us in a moment.
'Cause you got all eyes on you no matter where you are. You just
New overnight, a taste of freedom. Families and friends savour time together after 3 months apart. Sydney springs back to life. More restrictions to go within weeks and new help for the recovery.
Developing now, Melbourne's vaccine push. 70% in sight, major changes to rollout rules, speeding up Victoria's roadmap.
New developments, COVID pill, the first steps to approve a virus treatment. Australia has already bought 300,000 doses. How it could be a shot in the arm to end the pandemic.
True crime, solving the Maddie mystery. The new twist as prosecutors close in on their prime suspect.
New details, Sony scandal, the bombshell claims about one of the music industry's most powerful players.
And by George, he's still got it. 60-year-old Clooney emerges from a milestone birthday in lockdown. It's Tuesday, the 12th of October, 2021.
Right across Australia, this is Sunrise on 7. Now live from Brekkie Central, Koshy and Nat.
Back now at 8 a.m. on Sunrise. Still to come this morning, a room with a view. Tell them they're dreaming. How about a whole house with a view? Coming up, the man who built his home on a turntable so his wife can pick any outlook she likes.
It's a big lazy Susan. Plus, Australia's SAS superwoman. Now Jana Pittman is facing her toughest challenge yet. She is live on her surprise baby news.
But first to new developments in Sydney's recovery, and the next vaccine milestone is on the horizon this morning. 80% fully vaxxed. It will trigger an easing of more restrictions after millions enjoyed their first day out of lockdown. Friends, families and couples were reunited across the city for the first time in months.
After so long, finally that sweet taste of freedom. Restaurants, the toast of the town, as Sydney celebrated the end of 106 days locked up.
We're also glad that everyone's getting back to the hospitality.
From the city to the suburbs, the queues enormous. People needed retail therapy. The doors rolled up, the covers came off.
It's the best feeling to be shopping in and being out of the house. It's amazing.
But it was Sydney's salons most in demand.
Oh man, it's the best thing ever, eh? Like, it was just getting out of control.
Tens of thousands of retail staff back at work checking vaccine certificates.
Yeah, all good, thank you. And sanitize.
But perhaps the most special freedom moments at our nursing homes.
Long time no see, eh?
Yeah, how long?
Nearly 4 months.
4 months apart after 68 years married. Jen and Peter Blacklock united again, the sweetest of reunions on a day like no other.
It felt wrong that you were together for so long and then suddenly you can't be.
Live now to 7 News reporter Serena Andaloro with some breaking news. Serena, the Premier has announced new support for businesses.
Yeah, Nat, a welcome boost as we break free from this lockdown. Tradies and small businesses will be able to recoup the cost of their road tolls and other government fees, up to $2,000. It's a major expense for them, and particularly for those small businesses in Western Sydney. And grants of up to $20,000 will be given to small businesses who won't be able to open through the summer and whose perishable goods might be impacted by the lockdown. Now, the Premier has stressed that we need to get the state moving. The lockdown cost us $1 billion a week. Take a listen.
That's what this is all about, giving confidence to businesses so that they succeed over the summer months. It's going to be boom time in New South Wales for every single business and every single worker.
And now our attention turns to the next vaccination milestone, the 80% double dose vaccination milestone, which we're set to reach on October 25th, and will be afforded a raft of more freedoms, including more people inside our homes. We'll be able to travel freely throughout the state. Nightclubs will open, and we'll be able to do away with masks inside the workplace. A lot of people breathing a sigh of relief over that one. That's been particularly restrictive.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? Let's bring in Sunrise reporter Nathan Curry in Melbourne. Some big changes, Nathan, to the vaccine rollout in Victoria, and it could help fast-track freedoms there.
Yeah, it's super exciting, Nat. We've really picked up to the pace thanks to our youngest eligible Victorians, and there's now suggestions that we could hit the 70% target, which will end lockdown here on October 21. That's almost a week earlier than first planned, and as a result of that, the 80% target would come forward by a few days as well, and that's when we get the freedoms that Sydney is experiencing at the moment. So from this morning, Pfizer and Moderna will be offered to everyone, 12 and up at all state-run hubs. In fact, at a few of them you won't even need an appointment. You will be able to walk in and get the vaccine of your choice. Up until now, people over the age of 60 have been told to get AstraZeneca, so this big change is hoped that people that have still been holding out will finally come forward and get their jab and help us open up quicker, Nat.
Thanks very much, Nathan.
Let's get more news now with Eddie.
Thank you, Koshi. Arson squad investigators are looking at the cause of a fire at a childcare centre in the Melbourne suburb of Officer overnight. The blaze erupted just after 4:30 this morning. Fire crews managed to put out that blaze and no one was hurt, and there's no word yet on what caused the fire. In breaking news, a light plane has crashed in San Diego, California. The aircraft came down in a residential area, damaging several homes and narrowly missing a high school. Fire crews raced to the scene. You can see the first pictures there from first responders. They rescued 2 people and extinguished a fire at the crash site. There are no confirmed fatalities, but there are reports of several burns victims. A pill to treat COVID-19 could be available by the end of the year, with pharmaceutical giant Merck applying for authorisation in the US. Let's go live now to 7 News US correspondent Tim Lester. Tim, this could be a real game changer, this antiviral pill.
It sure could, Eddie. Merck believe they have a drug that will stop the coronavirus from replicating in those already suffering from COVID-19. They call it Molnupiravir. The drug trialled on 700 or more patients globally. The results so promising for the drug company in terms of preventing hospitalisation that they stopped the trial and have now taken the data to America's Food and Drug Administration, seeking emergency approval to produce this drug and distribute it before the end of the year. It's important news for Australians in that our government is one of the early governments to place a big order with Merck, 300,000 doses. Merck says it already plans to produce 10 million before the end of this calendar year, believing that those who take it will halve their chances of hospitalisation or death from COVID-19. Eddie?
It's an amazing development. Thank you, Tim. A Victorian government minister has lost his job in cabinet following fresh allegations of branch stacking. Labor MP Luke Donnellan has resigned, moving to the backbench after being accused of paying party membership fees on behalf of others at an anti-corruption inquiry. Donnellan admits he broke the rules as a minister, but says he never misused public funds. Federal Labor member Anthony Byrne also admitted to being aware of rigged party ballots during the inquiry. Well, George Clooney has proven he's still well and truly got it, donning a suit for the first time in 2 years, he says, because of COVID lockdowns. The Hollywood superstar marking his first public appearance since turning the big 6-0.
Listen, turning 60 is not fun, as you can imagine, but it's better than dead. So I'll take it, and then I'll take whatever job I can. You know what I'm saying? He's not 60, so he can laugh.
Clooney walked the red carpet at the UK premiere of his new film he directed, The Tender Bar, with his wife Amal. Now to our over 60 member. Is that right? Does that
Yeah,
ring
he's
true?
quite right.
Okay.
He's joined to Brett.
I love it. He looks like George Clooney.
Yeah, he does look like George Clooney.
But yeah, no, I think that's a very good outlook on life.
Yeah, it's good.
For all ages.
And he's got a good sense of
Better
humour.
than dead.
Yeah, love it.
He just looks a good guy.
It'd be fun. Would I want to go to the pub with George?
Yeah, we've
always
always
said
it's all
that.
that Nespresso he's drinking. I think that must make the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's why I drink it.
James
George.
Tobin is at a vaccination centre in Western Sydney.
I don't mind the outfit, guys. We are in a vaccination centre, so we're taking all the precautions just to be safe, but we are a long way away from everything. Karen has been working at Kudos Bank Arena for 15 years. You are normally used to concerts and shows and fun. How long did it take you to get used to the face masks? And
Quite a while. It's just been a process, but we're so used to it now. Without it, we feel a bit naked.
And you guys have done such a great job meeting everyone here this morning. Plus, when I came and got my vaccinations, I felt so at ease. It was all explained to me. You must be pretty proud about what you guys have managed to achieve.
Look, I am. I've been really proud to come every day. I've been here from the start, and to play a small part of the team that's vaccinated over 300,000 people and to enable us to reopen, I felt really proud of that.
Having a look at the billboards for the concerts that have been pushed back and postponed, how excited are you for those to start again?
We can't wait, particularly because we've not had a live event here for over 20 months. So we've really missed that. So to support not only our local artists, our international artists, and like to welcome you, James, and all our patrons back to Kudos, to let them see live entertainment, to give them a fun night and the best experience. That's what we love doing here at Kudos.
Oh, I tell you what, we cannot wait to come back for that reason as well. Let's check your weather forecast.
Sunrise weather brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
There's a trough stretching over the Territory into Queensland and northern New South Wales. That's triggering rain and storms, heaviest over western Queensland and northeast New South Wales. A trough in front over southwest WA, causing rain and gusty showers, and clear elsewhere thanks to a broad high pressure system. So Brizzy, raining at times today, 21 degrees. Sydney in for some showers again, 19. Canberra partly cloudy and 15. Cloudy and 21 for Melbourne. Hobart cloudy and 17. Mostly funny and fine and 23 for Adelaide. Perth cloudy and 18, and Darwin sunny and 34. Karen, all this staff here, they're geared towards good times.
Yes.
And I love that you started to sort of create date nights here in a way. Can you share that?
Well, because people haven't been able to go out, and we had lots of couples coming to the arena to make it fun and enjoyable, not only for people coming to get vaccinated, but us. We sort of were having a joke with date night, and I was trying to convince them we should have, some Barry White, some ambience, sound and lighting. And we just were welcoming them all to date night, and when they'd leave, just thank them for letting us be part of their outing.
Oh, it's such a good idea, because people do sometimes feel a little bit uneased when they get here, so to make them feel comfortable is great. Are you devastated about Keith Urban? He was supposed to be here in December.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully again soon.
Yeah, looking forward to next year, and fingers crossed that we're back to lots of live entertainment and giving everybody a great time.
Over 15 years you must have seen some great shows here. Yeah. It's been such a great eye-opener to see what it's like behind the scenes, and you guys do such a great job.
Thank you.
See you back here in half an hour.
Yeah, and don't worry, Karen, Keith will be back.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to make it big in the music industry, like Keith in this country, there was one man you needed to impress. It was Sony Music's Dennis Hanlon.
He spent 37 years with the record label, but was fired in June as Sony looked into its workplace culture. Eddie has more. And Eddie, a new report has made some damning claims against the music titan.
Yeah, that's right, Nat and Koshi. An ABC investigation claims that Dennis ruled Sony Music with fear and intimidation as he fostered a workplace based on systemic bullying, discrimination and misconduct.
Sony Music Chief Executive, Chairman of the ARIA Board and Officer of the Order of Australia. In this country, there were few names in music more powerful or more influential than Dennis Handlin.
I would like to thank, once again, Sony Music, Dennis Handlin.
To my wonderful record company, Dennis Handlin, for Sony when I was 15 years old.
But a new report by ABC's Four Corners claims he set a volatile tone at the top.
I felt targeted, I felt manipulated, and I certainly felt abused.
The ABC interviewed more than 100 current and former staff as part of its investigation.
The kindest thing I could say about Dennis was that he was sort of an equal opportunity abuser.
Their allegations painted a picture of ruthless reign that generated fear and fueled a toxic workplace.
I think in an industry that tolerates bad behaviour, he was a star performer. So it kind of says something about it. When you actually shot people in music, you're behaving pretty badly.
In an internal staff video obtained by Four Corners, he is seen dressed as Adolf Hitler, parodying a Mel Brooks comedy song.
Budget's blowing. What you gonna do?
Handlin's behaviour was allegedly reported to Sony Music's global head office on countless occasions in the 90s. Only when an executive from the US also lodged a complaint did the company reportedly start to take notice. A report into Handlin was compiled.
He is abusive daily, goes into frequent mad rages of screaming and bullying, constantly humiliates staff in meetings, enjoys intimidating staff, cannot treat women as equals, purposely sets out to destroy people for power.
One executive claimed Handlin had ordered him to sack people for not smiling at him, not liking the physical look of someone, or for being pregnant. But perhaps the most shocking allegation came from former head of human resources, Greg Lockhart.
Such is the level of Dennis's obsession with total control that I have been instructed on a dozen different occasions to have personnel followed by private detectives.
How did it feel to be carrying out that demand?
Oh, terrible.
At one point, Handlin was suspended only to be reinstated 3 months later, and he emerged more powerful than ever.
He'd gone through this typhoon and came out the other side. They survived out the other way, so I think he must have felt he was untouchable.
Fast forward 2 decades, the scandal around Sony Music's toxic culture started building again. In June, Handlin was sacked as the company launched a workplace culture investigation. Sony Music Entertainment told Four Corners they take all allegations of bullying, harassment and other inappropriate behaviour from employees very seriously and investigate them vigorously. And only recently did claims surface and we were examining them expeditiously. Handlin declined to be interviewed, instead issuing a statement saying, "I would never tolerate treating women in an inappropriate or discriminatory manner. At any time I was made aware of this sort of behaviour, I took action to ensure that it was stopped and didn't occur again."
Those interviewed told Four Corners the story isn't going away until Sony Music's global head office comes out and faces the music, and there are more investigations to come. So it's going to be one of those stories that's not going anywhere soon. Thanks, Eddie. Still to come this morning, hopes of a breakthrough in the Maddie McCann case, why prosecutors are confident they have the man responsible.
And she's become the hero of SAS Australia.
Now go! Go! Faster! Faster!
But the real challenge is only just beginning. The amazing Jana Pittman is live with her massive news. This is Sunrise on 7. We'll be back with more in a moment. Jana Pittman is best known for her Olympic endeavours, but at 38 she's pushing her body to the limit once again.
The mum of 4 has wowed audiences on 7's SAS Australia, proving she is up there with some of the strongest men. But now Jana has a new challenge and she's here to share her very exciting news.
Get down! Get down! Jana Pittman is a force to be reckoned with.
Now go! Go! Faster! Faster!
Putting 110% into every task on SAS Australia.
Come on, let's move it!
And opening up about past regrets.
My most shameful moment was in my final year of medical school. Found myself unable to put food on the table for my 3 kids because I decided to chase success again.
She's unafraid to touch on taboo topics.
I wet myself. Unintentionally, but women at home need to know that after you have a baby, you don't have good pelvic floor if you try hard.
And now she's the only woman left on the course.
Stand up now. Stand up.
The dual Olympian joined SAS just 6 months after giving birth. Now she's pregnant again, and it's twins.
Olympian, doctor, mum, superwoman, the star of SAS Australia without one shadow of a doubt. And we sat next to her during the Olympics for 2 weeks. Jana Pittman, you have blown us away. Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I loved doing, obviously, the course. It was amazing to have those experiences and hear from the DS, their first, what they went through as soldiers back often in Afghanistan. But even watching it myself gives me a bit goosebumps because I wasn't really sure I was ever going to make it up that ladder last night.
You are one tough lady.
That was amazing. And they said no woman had ever done that before in the 90 seconds.
And then I got a cuddle from Ant Middleton, which I think was the highlight. Everyone's supposed to, does he smell nice? I'm like, oh, thanks, cuddle.
Wow. Have you thought of... Actually, Brett's is in the Army Reserves. Have you ever thought of doing that? Has it sort of kindled something inside you?
100%, Koshi. I signed up about 18 months ago for the Army Reserves, and my fitness test is in 3 weeks. So
what's in 3 weeks?
The fitness test, but it's as a doctor, so it's not the crazy stuff like we've been watching on the course. So it's just like a 2.5k run. But I know next year is probably going to be a bit of a busy year, so unlikely I'll be able to fit much of it in. But yes, it's something I've always wanted to do, be a part of the Army. It's one of the reasons I signed up for the course, for the SAS course.
Wow, well, congrats. And Brett struggled through it, but I think you will be a shoo-in somehow.
Maybe we should pit Brett's against you when you do your fitness thing.
This is good.
He can come and motivate me.
Now, 2.5k run, how will you be? Because you've got some wonderful news.
I do. Well, wasn't expected to be 2, but yes, we just recently found out I'm pregnant again with number 5 and 6.
Congratulations.
Had you had multiple births in the past?
Well, no, not me, but my grandma was a twin, so I guess it's in the family. But yeah, it's going to be a super busy, hectic. Not sure how I'm going to drive the car next year. All those sort of things.
Well, no, the bus. So you went for one more. And got 2.
Yeah,
what went through your mind when you heard about that?
Well, of course, I scanned myself at work, so found out unofficially.
You cheated.
I cheated, exactly. And then, I saw the 2 little heartbeats and I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was amazing.
And you've been a bit sick at work.
Yes, so my bosses found out a little early as well because I was helping with a cesarean and threw up into my mask, into my goggles and all through my hair. So you can read it all in New Idea, but it was a bit of an embarrassing experience.
So what's the mix at the moment?
I've got 2 little boys, or 1 big boy and 1 little boy, and then 2 girls in the middle. So
right, and do you know the sex of the...
No, it'll be a blessing because it's twins. I can't tell you this early, so I've got to wait till the 20-week scan to find out.
Okay.
That's so exciting. Now tell us how hard SAS has been, because sitting in your lounge room, it looks like something I would never even consider.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, but it challenges you more mentally than physically. So I think one of the things people don't realise is a lot of the challenges, you just get told what to do and you do the job. So some of the stuff, like jumping out of helicopters and, certainly getting drowned in a car was hard on your mind. But what an experience. People pay millions to come and do these things.
But also, it strips your back bare,
doesn't
it? It's incredible. John Stephenson's part of it. He was part of our Olympic coverage, and he's come up really well.
He's a beast. That's why, Koshi. He's a real athlete.
Dan comes across as a bit of a dick. Is he really?
No, I love Dan.
Really
actually, he's definitely one of my favourite.
But he keeps talking about himself in the third person, which is a bit weird.
He's an actor. But funnily enough, a lot of athletes do that as well. I think it's almost a way of projecting what you're feeling about something. But I think one of the things that have got to come out of this is he talks about mental health in a middle-aged male population, and it's something we really need to actually appreciate. He's gone out there openly and talked about his mental health and talked about using meditation and yoga to actually better himself in that context. So I think we need to celebrate that as well, because it's a great message for guys out there. And he was one of my greatest supporters actually on the course. Always had an arm around me, always trying to help.
He gave you a big hug after getting into the helicopter last night.
So we don't see that side of him, but he's a great dad and a true gentleman. So
lovely.
Oh, well, it's been a pleasure to watch you. Absolutely in awe, Superwoman. And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And all of you who are left, we're cheering for everyone because we're thinking, how you've all got through this, I've got no idea. Amazing.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Good to see you
Well
again.
done. And you can see more of Jana on SAS tonight, of course, at 7:30 p.m. The toughest test of their lives comes to a heart-stopping conclusion.
Gets even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Fingers crossed. Coming up, breaking news, cash back. Tradies to get their tolls refunded in Sydney. Big boost to getting the city working again.
And big changes for Lego. The world's most loved toy is going genderless. Now at 8:30, it's news time. Here's Eddie.
Thank you, Nat. In breaking news, the New South Wales Premier has unveiled a new plan to support the return of business out of lockdown. Speaking just earlier this morning, the Premier revealed an expanded scheme for small business rebates on state government fees and charges, including road tolls. A stock guarantee has also been unveiled, with some businesses able to apply for $20,000 to account for perishable stock. The plan is part of a new COVID economic support package to give businesses a much-needed boost.
That's what this is all about, giving confidence to businesses so that they succeed over the summer month. It's going to be boom time in New South Wales for every single business and every single worker.
And millions of people in New South Wales have enjoyed their first full day out of lockdown, with the next major vaccination milestone on the horizon. The state is charging to 80% fully vaxxed, triggering even more freedoms, including eased travel and mask restrictions. Restaurants welcomed back customers with open arms overnight, with families and friends returning to dining across the city. There's been a major change to help speed up Victoria's vaccine rollout. Pfizer and Moderna jabs will now be given to anybody over the age of 12. It means over 60s will be eligible for those vaccines too. They were previously only able to book AstraZeneca. The new changes follow the success of the rollout on school-age students. In breaking news this morning, a light plane has crashed in San Diego, California. The aircraft came down in a residential area, damaging several homes. These are the first pictures from the scene. They narrowly missed a high school when it came down. Fire crews raced to the scene, rescuing 2 people and extinguishing a fire at the crash site. There are no confirmed fatalities, but there are reports of several burns victims. The makers of an antiviral pill used to treat COVID-19 have applied for emergency use authorisation from the US regulator. American pharmaceutical giant Merck has submitted the application for Molnupiravir. Early trials of the drug have shown it can reduce hospitalisation and death by 50%. The Australian government has bought 300,000 courses of the pill. There's fresh hope this morning for more than 200,000 Australians with Parkinson's disease. Researchers say cannabis could be the key to stopping the disorder in its tracks. Sufferers will be given a non-intoxicating component of the drug in a new trial on the Gold Coast. It's hoped the treatment will become the first to not only alleviate symptoms, but stop the disease from developing further. Lego has announced plans to remove gender bias from its toy to make the products more inclusive. A global survey by the toy maker found children were being held back by gender stereotypes. 71% of boys feared they would be made fun of if they played with what they described as girls' toys. Lego says the change is to ensure children's ambitions are not limited by gender. The saying, happy wife, happy life, is one that a husband in Bosnia has taken very seriously. He designed and built this family home with a very special feature. It can rotate full circle on its 7-metre axis. The ingenious invention is a monument to love, satisfying his wife's desire to change the view whenever she wishes. The house makes a full circle in 24 hours at its slowest speed and in 22 seconds when it's going flat out. I hope she enjoys the view out, and I hope she continues to enjoy the view in too.
That's love.
Because he's gone to such effort.
That is love, isn't it? Yeah. That's a man's dedication to his partner.
Does it actually play Kylie Minogue spinning around?
It does, yeah, on rotation. Yeah, so
and the soya sauce is always available on the Lazy Susan.
Except in 22 seconds, the dim sims just go flying all over the place. Barrett says on your sport.
All right, it's good news for the summer. Cricket Australia expects the Ashes to go ahead in full with crowds. After months of negotiations, England have all but confirmed they will tour Australia this summer. But Cricket Australia says state border blocks won't cause a reshuffle of venues, with Perth's test to remain after Melbourne's and Sydney's. The first test at the Gabba starts on December the 8th, right here on 7. Bring it on. Getting the wicket of Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers or Glenn Maxwell would be a career highlight for most bowlers. West Indies' Sunil Narine took all three within 3 overs in Kolkata's IPL elimination playoff against Bangalore. He then followed up his fourfer with a quick-fire 26 runs as Kolkata beat Bangalore by 4 wickets and move within a win of the final. The Redcliffe Dolphins bid team have denied reports they're set to be named as the NRL's 17th team this week. The ARL Commission meets on Thursday, where it is expected to announce who gets that licence, with the Dolphins the heavy front-runners. The Provan Summons Trophy is now residing safely in the trophy cabinet at Penrith Leagues Club after some pretty quick repairs following the club's grand final celebrations. And Penrith star Nathan Cleary will have shoulder surgery tomorrow, which could sideline him until the early rounds of next season. Good to see the trophy back in one piece, fixed, looking immaculate and safe in the cupboard now. It's good. Yeah. It's done.
James Tobin is in Western Sydney, where the push is on to get even more people vaxxed.
That's it. We've just got to keep on the charge. And we've just been reminiscing about this place, you know. Sydney Olympic Park, it's been the home of the Olympics. The V8s, the Arias have been here. So many great concerts. But right now, it is the centre of Sydney's drive to get vaccinated. We're at 70%. We're pushing for 80 and 90. One of the big messages from the team here who have done such a great job is make sure you get your second vax if you've done your first. Don't skip the second and just come on out. It's quick, it's simple. You can book online. You could be in here today and get it done. Let's have a look at your weather forecast.
Sunrise weather brought to you by Beacon Trade. For every downlight sold during Mental Health Week, we're donating $1 to Livin to break the stigma around mental health.
There's a trough stretching over the Northern Territory into Queensland and northern New South Wales. That's triggering rain and storms, heaviest over western Queensland and northeast New South Wales. A trough in front over southwest WA causing rain and gusty showers, and mostly settled elsewhere due to a broad high pressure system. Brizzy, raining at times today, 21 degrees, a shower or 2 in Sydney, 19. Canberra, partly cloudy and 15. Partly cloudy and 21 in Melbourne. Hobart, cloudy and 17. Fine and 23 in Adelaide. Perth, cloudy and 18. And Darwin, mostly sunny and 34 degrees. newsouthwales.gov.au is where you go if you want to book an appointment. As I said, there are appointments available today because we want more Delta Goodrem and less Delta variant. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Oh.
We'll be on a boat.
That was poetry. I love it. Thanks, JT.
How'd you like to win some cash?
The Sunrise Cash Cow.
20 grand up for grabs when we call our winner tomorrow. To be in that draw, you need the code word PATCH.
Now, SMS the daily code word and your full name and address to 19777077. Entries close at 4:30pm Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Larry and Kylie are here. What's happening after sunrise?
Morning, guys. Coming up after the morning show, on the morning show, Moana Hope went from kicking goals on the footy field to navigating the ups and downs of IVF. The former AFLW star tells us how she's coping, or hoping to welcome a sibling for almost 1-year-old daughter Svea, and how the family is coping with parenting pressures in Melbourne's lockdown.
Then we chat to the man with the most famous hands in showbiz. Best promo line ever. Christopher Hart reveals what it was like playing Thing in the Addams Family. Yes. Find out how he prepared for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I so can't wait for that.
You may recognise him, right?
Yeah.
Plus, what's mine is mine. We dive into the great money debate dividing couples. So how should finances be split in a relationship? And are secret bank accounts ever okay? All coming up with me and
Larry.
It's
looking creepy, Larry.
Yes. You ruined the magic.
You're looking like a creeper.
HR, please.
Still to come, the new twist in the Maddie McCann mystery. Could prosecutors soon charge their prime suspect?
Plus, the small acts of kindness making a big impact during Victoria's lockdown. The team behind the Goodwill Mission. This is Sunrise on 7. More in a moment.
With All Accor Live Limitless, earn points on hotel stays and more. Plus, enjoy flexible bookings in the best hotel and apartment brands. Join now at all.accor.com.
Morning to you, Brisbane. It's going to be much cooler than yesterday, reaching 21 degrees with showers expected for most of the day. Gold Coast, similar conditions for you. Very high chance of rain, also headed for a top of 21. Sydney, you are waking up to more grey skies. A medium chance of showers today. It's currently 15 degrees in the city, heading for a top of 19.
Melbourne, you are absolutely sparkling this morning. Have a look at that. Sunny all through the day, top of 21. And Adelaide, likewise, looking good. Some light winds reaching 23 degrees.
Well, there's a new twist in the Madeleine McCann case this morning, with a German prosecutor saying he's confident they have the man who took and killed her.
He claims there's enough evidence to press charges, but for her parents, could it be yet another chapter in a nightmare that doesn't seem to end? Few missing person cases have gripped the world quite like this one. Madeleine McCann, the 3-year-old who vanished without a trace from a holiday apartment in Portugal.
Words cannot describe the anguish and despair that we are feeling as the parents of our beautiful daughter Madeleine.
The mystery has plagued the family and detectives for 14 painstaking years, but authorities say that could soon be over. Prosecutor Hans Christian Walters has claimed that he's confident prime suspect Christian Bruckner is the man who took and killed Maddie. The German national is currently serving a 7-year jail sentence for the rape of a 72-year-old woman in the same town Maddie went missing from in 2005.
You have a person that fits a profile. Previous history of sex offences against girls, burglary, and you see that his phone was actually within proximity of the crime scene a short time before the crime was committed.
In an interview with the Daily Mirror newspaper, the prosecutor said, "We're confident we have the man who took and killed her," adding, "It's now possible that we could charge. We have that evidence now."
And for more, we're joined by former Police Chief Inspector Mark Neville, who has worked on the case. Mark, so the prosecutor says they have evidence against Bruckner. Do we know what that is?
Well, it's certainly not CCTV or fingerprint evidence or anything like that. What it would seem to be is the claim is that they've got mobile phone evidence that he was in the area at the time. And they also claim that they've got a confession he made to a friend. And it's all very weak, and I just feel that the parents might be let down. I think the critical point here is what the Germans call concrete evidence and what we might call concrete evidence in Britain and Australia are two completely different things. In Britain and Australia, I think concrete evidence would mean we had CCTV of it in the scene, some fingerprints and a body. In Germany, it means you've got some tangible reason to arrest the man. So it's completely different, and I just feel that the parents are going to be let down once again here.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't realise there was such a difference between the judicial systems over there. So you don't think the case is strong at all. What's your gut feel?
I just think they're trying to bluff it out. I think they're trying to put pressure on Bruckner to make him give a confession and to make him admit it. But I just think we must be really careful about this mistranslation of what's concrete evidence in Britain and Australia and what's concrete evidence in Germany.
So is it believed that this is the guy, or could we have to start again here?
Well, like I say, the mobile phone evidence, that they're claiming that from 2007 they've got mobile phone evidence that he was in the area. But of course, that technology then was quite new. And I've looked at this, and they claim to pinpoint somebody, you need 3 mobile phone masts, and there isn't even that now. So how can they pinpoint him in that area? And a confession to another dubious criminal in a prison cell is never going to really cut the mustard in court. So it's the evidence is just not there. If they're claiming they've got this evidence, but the Herr Walters doesn't seem to be able to produce it. Where is it? Tell us what it is, because the public would really want to know what's happened to the tragedy of this little girl. It's just not good enough. Tell us what it is.
Yep, fair enough. The German prosecutor who made these claims believes Maddie is dead. What proof does he have of that?
The tragedy is, it would seem he's got none. And I have no doubts that Christian Bruckner is a wicked and evil man. He's a paedophile. He rapes old ladies. But there's a big jump between being a wicked and evil man in the area and being somebody who we can prove has committed murder and has kidnapped that little girl. And I'm afraid that Herr Walter seems to have caught publicity rather than doing his job, which is to find absolute evidence that this man has done these deeds.
Mike, in your opinion, do you think the McCanns will ever get answers?
It's a tragedy. I think the only way they'll get answers now is through the use of things like images. If Madeleine is alive today, we know she's got a strange line in one of her eyes. We know she wore distinctive pyjamas when she was kidnapped. And such is the use of facial recognition these days, pattern recognition, human super recognizers, that if she was alive, there must be an image of her. All of us know that if you take a photograph to put on in a restaurant to put on Facebook, you'll capture the people behind you or on the same beach. And if she is alive, that's where she is. And I offer my services to the McCann family as the world expert in finding people by images to try and find her, because if she is alive, she will have an image somewhere, whether it's on Facebook or on a passport photograph or something like that.
Yeah. Mike Neville, I really appreciate your time and putting all these reports in perspective for us and sort of ensuring we don't get our hopes up too much. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
That's really interesting.
And really scary.
Yeah.
Ahead on Sunrise, random acts of kindness during lockdown. The Victorian teenager bringing smiles to strangers' faces.
Plus, royal power. Prince Charles reveals the strange fuel for his favourite car.
And he's still got it at 60. George Clooney back on the red carpet after marking a milestone in lockdown. In breaking news, Victoria's COVID cases have just been released with 1,466 new infections. Let's go live now to Sunrise reporter Nathan Curry. Cases have gone down again.
They have, Nat, by more than 140 today, which is the good news. So hopefully we are seeing those cases dip. The sad news is that we have lost another 8 people here in Victoria to COVID. That's the second day in a row that we've seen 8 people die to the virus. So the trend this week is looking like the death toll is rising. Don't have the exact hospital figures just yet, but they are rising. In fact, the Royal Melbourne Hospital has boosted its capacity. It's an intensive care unit, so they are bracing for those numbers in hospitals to keep rising, guys.
Okay. All right, Nathan, thank you. Well, after seeing family and friends struggling in lockdown, a Melbourne teenager was encouraged by her mum to send letters to cheer them up.
It's since grown into a kindness project, with Olivia spreading joy throughout her community. And this morning, she is sharing some of it with us.
Thoughtful messages on handcrafted cards. Each of those notes has delivered kind words to those who received them.
There's so much bad news going around COVID. I think that everyone could use a pick-me-up.
It started when 16-year-old Olivia sent letters to lockdown family in Melbourne. A simple gesture suggested by her mum, Tracy.
With so much negativity going on at the moment, we wanted to just make somebody's day, make them smile.
Soon, Olivia began sharing the thoughtful notes around her own community. Each a reminder someone is thinking of them.
There was a lady on Facebook who I would have put it in her letterbox or on her windshield, and she said that it absolutely made her day, and she's got it sitting on a little vase in her lounge room, I think.
Olivia has handwritten more than 50 individual letters decorated with hearts and flowers from her garden.
They're all individual notes that I wrote. Hi, if you're reading this, your garden's beautiful. From stranger to stranger, I hope you're doing well. Little pick-me-ups, things to make people smile.
A simple reminder that when it comes to kindness, a little can go a long way.
It doesn't have to be a massive, huge, random act of kindness. Just simply a compliment to somebody could make all the difference.
Olivia and Tracy join us now. You two beautiful ladies, what a gorgeous idea. Oh, it's just wonderful.
Thank
Olivia,
you.
what's been the reaction from family members and also strangers?
Well, from strangers, because I gave a few of the flowers to some people in person. They were so happy, that they smiled and they were just so grateful. And from family and friends, everyone's been so supportive, and it even made them happy to know what I was doing and stuff. And from the wider community as well, especially over social media.
Yeah,
there was a lot of great feedback on there, and a few people, had found them.
Oh, because a lot of time and effort goes into each note and getting the flowers and delivering it. I guess a good distraction for you too.
Yeah, it definitely was. Obviously lockdown's been really hard, and although things are easing up at the moment, it's still, online schooling and still not getting out of the house that much, but it did give me something else to focus on and look forward to, especially giving them out with my friends. So, yeah.
And Tracy, what a special mum you are to encourage this in not only Olivia but both your girls. But it's not the first time Olivia has spread a bit of joy around the community, is it?
No, because last year during lockdown, Olivia went to our local lake here, which is just around the corner, and did some chalk drawings. So when I say chalk drawings, she spent hours on different drawings. Unfortunately, it rained a couple of times, so she had to go back and do some more. So, but again, through social media, we saw that it really did make people's days and cheer them up.
Oh, we just love this. Tracy, your community of Bendigo, not in lockdown, but still restrictions. How are people coping?
Yeah, look, it's hard, and we're certainly happy that the kids are going back to school this week. But what I've found too, people are sort of being kind. People are kinder these days, and quite supportive as well, just of little businesses and that sort of thing. So, which is great.
Yeah, that's so true.
You've both brightened our day up today. Thank you for doing that, and keep it up. We love it.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Well done. Lovely story.
Isn't that great family? News time. Here's Eddie.
Thank you very much, Koshi. First to breaking news at 9 a.m. on Sunrise, and Victoria has recorded 1,466 new COVID infections. That's down about 150. Sadly, 8 more people lost their lives, and 36,000 doses of the vaccine were administered too. Some more breaking news. The New South Wales government has unveiled help for small businesses hit by lockdown. They'll be able to recoup toll costs, while others can apply for a $20,000 financial boost. And Prince Charles has revealed the secret recipe he uses to power his Aston Martin, converting it to run on wine and cheese, no less. Checking the weather for you, rain at times in 20 in Brisbane, a shower or two in Sydney and 19, partly cloudy in Canberra with a top of 15, partly cloudy in Melbourne and also in Hobart.
Sunrise Entertainment, brought to you by Wanderlust Plant Active Supplements, inspired by nature's wisdom, made for now.
It's time for entertainment news now. Sunrise Showbiz editor Nelson Aspen joins me live. Nelson, George and Amal Clooney, they've made a milestone appearance on the red carpet.
No COVID kilos for the Clooneys, that is for sure, Eddie. It's been 2 years since George Clooney has put on a suit, so he claims. And while he did turn 60, having a milestone birthday during lockdown, they got all dolled up and hit the red carpet at the London Film Festival for the UK premiere of his new film, The Tender Bar, which he directed. Here he is chatting on the red carpet.
Listen, turning 60 is not fun, as you can imagine, but it's better than dead. So I'll take it, and then I'll take whatever job I can. You know what I'm saying? He's not 60, so he can laugh.
Oh, come on, George. You make 60 look like 30. He's terrific. And the film, by the way, it's called The Tender Bar and will be released early next year.
Oh, looking forward to seeing it, Nelson. Behind-the-scenes photos show Timothée Chalamet on set of the new Wonka film. Nelson, a little bit of contention about his outfit, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Wonka or Wonky, as the case may be. People really love Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. It was hard enough to get used to Johnny Depp, and now Timothy comes along and has posted some photos and, trying to build up the suspense because the film's not even coming out till 2023. But a lot of people have pointed out that there's a bit of a comparison with Gonzo from the Muppet Christmas Carol. In fact, some people are putting side-by-side comparisons up saying who wore it better. Or Gonzo, I still can't figure out why there's another Wonka that looks like Christmas Carol. Regardless, everybody has an opinion, and we will be able to judge for ourselves in 2023. Eddie.
Should be a great film, though. Thank you so much for that, Nelson. And if you're lucky enough to be in Queensland, keep an eye out for George Clooney and Julia Roberts. They'll arrive very, very soon to shoot their new film up and around the Whitsundays.
That's exciting, isn't it?
We might get that beer in with George.
Yeah. Give him a call, Brett. Leave it up to you. Just quickly in breaking news, New South Wales has recorded 360 new COVID cases. Big drop from the 596 yesterday.
More in a moment. This is Sunrise on 7.
School's back. Breaking down the important COVID changes, what it means for every grade on Sunrise tomorrow.